Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to SteveBussaGS. We got another scorecard in it for you. We're gonna do that one again. Womp womp womp. I said, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to SteveBussaGS. I got my man Critic here with another scorecard interview. My guy, please introduce yourself for everybody. What's going on?
How you doing, bro?
Never had a bad day in my life, brother. How about yourself?
I had a pretty shit day, but this is the up.
This is where we turn it around. That's the whole point of this, right?
Yeah, this is where we flip the card, the scorecard.
Let's get into it. If you can do me a favor, again, my whole thing about this channel, I want to expose you to an international audience the best that I can. For those of you who may not, but for those of you who may not be like familiar with you, just give us a basic rundown. Give them a little background. What do they need to know about you before we start getting into it?
All right, my name is Critic, and I'm the best rapper in Zambia. You know, I don't know, man.
And interview over.
And that's it. Like, we can close this up now. I've been a fan of hip hop from since I could walk, and I began to practice hip hop. I look at hip hop like a religion, the same way you've got like Christians and Muslims. I'm a hip hop guy. That's my religion, you know. I practice it in that manner. I've got that same conviction, you know, so much so that I'm willing to do the almost crazy things that may present in other religions in my religion, which is hip hop. I'm a hip hop extremist, basically.
Hip hop zealot. My man is a hip hop zealot. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's so dope that you started on that too. Like that thing, like, yo, I'm the best rapper in Zambia, because my introduction to you was the video that started going around on Twitter about you saying I can say whatever I want because I'm the best, and no one can say let's talk about that, right? Do you obviously believe that, right? So like that's your standpoint right now. What makes you feel that way? What made you feel like, when did you start to feel like you had the right to say something so crazy like that?
When I had a music catalog that no one in Zambia can outdo. Right. And for me, it's like, I respect catalogs before I respect the rapper. The rappers that I put up there are rappers who've got catalogs that I respect, like heavy, like the Jay-Z catalog, the Marshall catalog, the Lil Wayne catalog, the Outkast catalog. So early on in my life, I was like a catalog person. You know, I was like, can you do this for like 5 albums? Hell yeah, you can make one album that's dope, but what's your catalog like, right? And because I'm in a country that doesn't view what I'm doing as populist, you know, you don't have the largest audience, it's more like a niche here. When I started to compare my prowess and my catalog versus any other genre in this country, I was like, yeah, regardless of genre, you've got the best collection of albums. Like my albums are the thing I'm the most proud of in my life. You know, I mean, if the day comes that my demise meets, I haven't done much in this life, the thing that I'm most proud of is my catalog.
That's dope.
So that's why I say, like, I'm the best. It's like nobody else has got a catalog like this.
Now I want to get into, like, you mentioned before on Twitter, where it's like, yo, you ready to get into some real hip hop conversations with hip hop heads, right? So like, that's such a surface statement. I want to break that down. All right, let's really get into it. So when we're talking about metrics, you're talking about the catalog, you're talking about like what makes you the best. What are the metrics that go into that catalog that you're measuring that by? Because you said it's not popularity, so we're not talking about views, we're not talking about album sales, right? When you're talking about quality albums, for you to make that claim, to stake that claim, what are the metrics that you're looking at that make up that catalog? Because anyone could put out 5 albums and they don't necessarily have to be good. So it's not number of albums, you know what I'm saying? What are the metrics that you're wearing on your chest when you say something like, I am the best? What are the metrics you're proud of?
And then there was X, the Marshall Mathers LP, Reasonable Doubt, Illmatic. These are the metrics. You know what I mean? Stankonia by Outkast. Like, I'm pitting myself against albums that I grew up listening to, and I was like, damn, I don't think I'll ever be able to rap this good. You know, critic literally stands for kicking rhymes you thought I couldn't. And I'm like, damn, I didn't, you know, so those are my metrics. So I look around and I don't see anybody else who's got like records that can stand up next to Illmatic, that can stand up next to, you know what I mean? That's what I'm looking at myself as. Like, I don't see anybody else trying to spar with Nas or M or J or J. Cole or Kendrick out here, you know? And so
Gotcha.
clearly by that standard, I must be beating the meter.
Let's break it down more specifically. Are you saying that there's no one in Zambia who can outbar you when it comes to pen game?
Yeah.
Are you saying you have the best flows when it comes to delivery?
There's people, okay, let's take it back one question. The previous question, I'll say yes and no, right? Because there's rappers who I've never heard who are doper than me. There's rappers who I've heard that most people haven't heard that are doper than me. You know what I mean? They just haven't put their shit out. But of the rappers that have been heard and are putting their shit out, you know, that's kind of the metric I'm going with.
Okay. When it comes to albums, are you taking into consideration variety? Because I can pick up any one of your albums and I don't know if I'm gonna get bars. I could get a love song. I could get some introspective shit. I could get some shit that make me want to kind of like vibe out and just fucking go on some edibles and get baked out of my mind. Do you take having that versatility? Do you take that into consideration? Is that one of your metrics? Like you consider yourself that like if you have 5 albums but they all sound the same, then I don't even want to talk about it?
I don't even want to bother myself with that metric because for me, it's all just living life, right? Like rap for me is like a diary, right? So I'll never run out of shit to rap about because I'll always like live rap. I mean, I always live life, you know what I mean? So it's just all those songs are just accounts of a moment or a day or some shit that happened, you know what I mean? So I don't even look at diversity because life is already diverse in and of itself. My job is just to channel it and put it on a record. You know what I mean? You won't have the same Mondays. You won't have the same Tuesdays. You won't have the same Wednesdays. You know, if you choose to pick like out of like a month, all right, I'm gonna take these 3 weeks and make an album out of it. And then the next 3 weeks, if you choose to make an album out of that, it'll be a different album. Because life in and of it's just different, you know.
No, I absolutely feel you. So I guess my question would be like, if I'm in Zambia and I'm staking a claim, I'm like, nah, get the fuck out of here. I got the best one, but I've never made a love song. Would you consider that a notch? Would you consider that a notch against me? Like, bro, you haven't even dabbled in this area, or do you think you can stake the claim as the best in any area without being able to touch on every category?
I mean, you got to be in the area first, right?
Right. I'm not saying me. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah. So like, if you're in Zambia, yeah, I'll definitely pitch you against every other song in the area. You know what I mean? But for me, it goes a little. For me, Zambia is like the little cage that I'm currently in. You know, and there's a whole world out there. You know, but I can only see the reaction from people in Zambia. Those are the people I get to meet, the people who tell me how dope my records are and things like that. So my scope currently is like, yeah, you're the dopest in rap in Zambia. I could be the dopest in Africa. You know what I mean? I just don't know. You know, it's just like as far as my eye can see. And also, I gotta duke it out with Stogie T. You know what I mean?
Don't get me started on that one. I'm not touching. Look, that's not. I'm not the one you want to have that conversation with. Shout out to Stoke, dog. All right, so look, I can't tell. I really can't tell from that if you're being humble or if you're being cocky. You kind of walk in a fine line because you definitely you got this air where you're still leaving yourself room to be humble. You know what I'm saying? Like, because there's a huge difference between I'm the best period and like giving respect. Like, nah, there's some killers out there who just haven't been heard yet, who haven't been discovered. Like, that's a real intelligent take. You know what I'm saying?
So I look at rap as you would look at like the samurais in Asian Japan, right? You're in your village, you're the greatest samurai in your village, but you got to go out there and fight, you know what I mean? And you know. So currently,
somebody might have a gun.
yeah. So currently, everybody's died on this sword. You know what I mean? Like nobody has been able to outsword me out here. And
All right.
you know.
So, have you dabbled into the battle scene then? Like, has somebody challenged that and come at you? Are there back and forth records? Because I haven't touched on none of those yet, if there are.
I started out battling, like freestyle battling, right? When freestyle was freestyle, before
Right.
it became like a collection
Writtens.
of written verses in when it was just like off the dome, blah 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 blah. I came up doing that. I used to like cipher, and almost every 2 weeks I would be at this cipher, and I literally killed everybody on it. You know what I mean? And so, you know, it's yeah, I've done that side. But if you mean like battling like song for song,
Like this record for this record. Like, has there been a critic diss track that you've responded to or anything like that?
I mean, there've been a couple of diss tracks to me, you know, and all of them aren't. Man, you heard how I rap, bro. You know what I mean?
I'm a
Like
fan.
it's not worth it for me to pick up my pen to respond to a lot of them. It just isn't. It's like, what am I gonna get back in return? If this is like back and forth, when I get at you, you're gonna give me some, you know, and
Right.
I don't want to
So
leave that to the crowd. I hope, you know.
have you? So you've never responded to anybody? There's never been one diss that was like, this one I gotta respond to. Like he cooked me a little bit.
I don't think anybody has cooked me. I respond out of boredom. If
Okay.
if anything else, like sometimes life just gets mundane. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get on this, you know, and I get back at someone and it just never hits home. Like last cat who was on my case, quote unquote, he had disses about the most mundane, like the most bottom tier, the low hanging fruit type disses, you know. And I
Fair
was like,
enough.
all right, we can't, like, I can't even have an intellectual battle with you. Like, this is the kind of person who I have to meet and smack up because I'm not gonna get anything out of you from the raps. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. Last question on that then. What is it going to take for somebody else to be able to stake that claim in your house and for you to respect it and be like, maybe I got dethroned? What would that take?
They gotta have the first and foremost the catalog, right? They
Mm-hmm.
gotta have that catalog because I live in a country where we're really huge on singles, all right?
Okay.
Because the industry is not so developed. People make money off singles. So have a single, make that single get big, then perform at clubs and make your money, right? But that doesn't really translate into our niche category of hip hop because there's not so many venues, there's not so many blah, blah, blah. So these people have, whoever it's going to be, has to have a catalog that you can play the way you can play my catalog.
Do you think that there's an intelligence behind the new way of doing things? Because like you just said, what you just explained with the singles, and then you get one to pop off, you start doing like that makes sense to me. Like that's an intelligent way
Yeah,
of
hell yeah.
going about having a music career. And then like nowadays you have people popping off TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of things that aren't albums.
Hell yeah.
So
Hell yeah.
so if we're moving away from albums as a culture in 2022, are you still holding on to that as the metric for being the best?
I am holding on to that.
Okay.
Like me personally, I don't really care what everybody's doing. Like I'll spend the last year trying to get convinced to get on TikTok. You know what I mean? And I get its relevance. I understand, you know, the wider reach and all that. But I've also got the like, maybe it's just not for me, you know, maybe
That's
that's
fair.
just that's just not where I thrive. So I'm not shitting on the people who are on TikTok doing their thing, releasing singles. Do your thing. I'm just saying, if you want this crown, you got to do a certain couple things to come get me. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
needed the
yeah, TikTok is
clarification.
fire.
I needed the clarification. That's it. So there you guys got. If anyone out there is looking for the crown, you better get your album game up. That's what it's looking like right now. If you wanna take it off critic, you better get your album game up. I respect it. That this type of conversation I think is important because a lot of people will claim to be the best at any given thing, and not really have the metrics for it, right? They're not saying that, oh, you can't punch better than me, or you want, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't flow better than me. They just try to make like a broad statement. And I like having the opportunity to pick somebody's brain and like really get into it and see like you know what I'm saying? Like what stems from that? What's giving you that confidence? Where's this coming from? You know what I mean? And catalog is a beautiful answer to that because it encompasses a little bit of everything. And as somebody who has taken the time to dive into your catalog, I can confirm that there's a reason to feel that way. So I salute to that. Like that's definitely on my radar too. Like I fuck with that. You feel me?
You know who had a surprise for me where I was like, damn, this is a phenomenal catalog. Nipsey Hussle.
Nipsey, rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle.
Surprisingly, like I got into Nip at the end of his career, like literally 2 months before he died.
That's crazy how that works sometimes, man.
So I was one of the new fans. One of the people were getting mad at, like, you don't even love Nip. I was one of them. My bandana even the wrong color.
It'd be like that.
But when I jumped into it and I was like, damn, this nigga really, like, you know what I mean? He put his catalog together, you know, and I'm a fan of catalogs, bro. I respect an artist for their catalog.
How many songs or albums does it take you getting into an artist for you to make your mind up about them as to whether or not you feel like you're a fan of them?
One album.
A whole album?
Yeah, it's got to be an album. It's got to be a complete thought.
And in your opinion, what's the sweet spot for either track length or album length time-wise?
I just go off 12. I've been doing 12 my whole life, even before we hit these algorithms and streaming and all these things. I just think 12 is like a good, like 10 is a little too short and 15 is a little too long and 12 is like the sweet spot.
Okay. And then I guess I gotta press you a little bit on some of this stuff too, right? Because a lot of the ideologies, like you sound like me, you sound like an old head. You sound like, you know what I'm saying? Like we came up in the roots of hip hop. Are you resistant to change? Like, are you stuck in your ways, or do you still feel like you're capable of evolving with the times as these new media outlets and stuff like that come out?
It's a case-by-case situation, to be honest. It depends on how whatever that outlet or whatever that arm of distribution makes me feel like, you know. So like, I'm gonna go on TikTok and I'll be there for 3 weeks and be like, nah, you know what I mean? Like this ain't for me. You know, I'm not shitting on it.
Let's not write it off. It might end up being. So you're saying it's not a principle to be against it. You just case by case.
I'm also just using it as an example. You know what I mean? Right. It's like it depends on the reaction it gives me. I'm big on how does this make me feel? You know what I mean? Like even with things like promotion. Before I went independent, I was signed to a couple of labels, and they used to get on me about not wanting to do interviews. You know what I mean? Like, but for me, hey, and that's why. And by the way, that's why I tweeted, I've been looking forward to talking about hip hop with someone that understands hip hop.
Let's go, baby. I appreciate it, dog. I really
do. You know what I mean? I sit in front of people and they're like, yeah, so what happened? Well, you know, and I'm just like, this is not even fun. This is not even interesting.
This means a lot to me, dog. Like you're seriously, you're one of my favorite discoveries of my channel. Like, doesn't matter what country, doesn't matter what region, nothing like that. You've been one of my favorite discoveries, period, from the channel. And that's what it's all about. Like my channel is all about discovering people. It doesn't matter where they're from, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what they're repping or nothing like that. If the music is good, I want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? So like, dog, like you're definitely one of those ones. I wouldn't be asking you these types of questions if I didn't think you had the catalog to back it up. You know what I'm saying?
I'm hoping this is where I want to be. Like I want to have these interviews forever, like interviews like this, you know.
Let's get into it, man. All right, let's hop right into the most recent project then. I had a very, very privileged situation to get an early copy of the Mid-Morning Marauders. All right, shout out to Rock Beats. I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. I had a great time. I don't know if you picked up on that or not while I was doing the reaction. I had a great time listening to that, my guy. Like I had a lot of fun with that. Talking to you, I felt like you weren't sure how I was gonna receive it, right? So like
Yeah.
let's talk about that. What was like the chemistry? What was the thought process behind that and everything?
So, so first and foremost, the reason that I wasn't sure how you receive it, that happens with me with every project that I pour myself into. You know what I mean? It becomes like, man, this is dope to me, but I hope this is dope to somebody else. You know what I mean? Because like I've heard so many people that like think they're dope or what they have done is dope. And I listen to it and I'm like, yo, you should have kept that in the drafts, my G.
I get
I
tagged in a
actually
lot of stuff.
I get into trouble for telling people to keep it in the drafts. You know what I mean?
Like, no, that's so,
But
isn't it? Ain't that crazy? Like,
yeah, as in
like if
today, there's a guy who dropped a video like 2, 3 days ago or something, and I was watching it. And I was like, yo, this is somebody I've told personally, like this ain't for you, and he's got a career, quote unquote, and he released something, and I was just like, this is all drafts material. This is all like, you know what I mean? I'm on the toilet just thinking of random stuff, and nah, that's just a random idea. Let me keep it to myself, you know. But he made a whole record, and I'm just there like, all right, cool, you know.
go off, my guy.
So it started with that. That was so it started with that insecurity. For me, I called it an insecurity of like, it's like your kid, right? This is your child. This is you done raise this thing from track 1 to track 8, and now somebody else is looking at this thing. And I was just like, yo, man, I hope you get it. But also because I'm in a space where I don't think I'm releasing music in the manner that a lot of my contemporaries are, especially in Zambia, because everybody is doing it for whatever reason, and I'm just doing it to experiment. You know what I mean? So it
You
was
did say
like an
that.
experiment.
You said that the mid morning Marauders was definitely more experimental, right? What were
Yeah.
the let be specific about that. What were the aspects of it that were new to you that you were trying out that you may not have been 100% comfortable with?
So it all started with me. So you know, like YouTube wormholes. You know, like how you have YouTube just playing in the background and it just takes you
Yeah.
down a rabbit hole. Um, on the stroke of midnight, this one time I was coloring comics because I do like graphic design on the side. So I was coloring comics, and on the stroke of midnight, the Midnight Marauders by a Tribe Called Quest came on, and that was my first time hearing it. You know what I mean? And I listened to this thing. I stopped coloring. I stopped. I just started listening to the record. Like shit, this was made the year I was born. You
It's
know what I
beautiful, ain't it?
mean? This is
That's
like
a beautiful thing, man, to be able to tap into
this is
history like that.
crazy. This is like in '87. This is what they were doing. You know what I mean? And that sparked the thought, like, make a concept album. I haven't made a concept album in a while, you know. And now I'm in a space where I've got the mic at the house. I've got, you know, I can do what I want when I want type shit. So I hit up Rock Beats, was like, yo, man, send me a couple beats. I'm in this space where I'm just rolling ideas back and forth. And every beat he would send, I would record something. And all of it was recorded during the period of like the mid-morning. So I recorded all those records just after waking up. You can hear it in my voice. If you listen close, you know what I mean? You can, when you were saying like, it sounds like I want to cry.
You was just tired?
that was that was just my hangover voice. But you
What
know
is
what I mean? I'm like a fan of the experiment.
what is your relationship with Rock Beats?
Man, Rock is my guy.
That's dope.
Like, I've never, I don't even know if he knows. You know, I've only met him in the physical once,
Okay.
just once. And like, I was working in the town that, close to a town that he lived in at this time. This was like 2015. And he texted me, he was like, yo, man, I hear you're close by. I would like to link you. and we linked. He bought me lunch, and then he left. You know, and I haven't seen him since that day, like in the physical, since 2015. But since that day, he's just been sending me these beats, and they're just the best fucking beats. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what else to say. He's an amazing, amazing human being. I'm a difficult artist to work with in that producers will send me beats and I'll record on them for like 2 years. You know what I mean? And then
I see producers bitching about artists like you every day on Twitter.
Yeah. But Rock has found a way to like get the best out of K.R.Y.T.I.C. You know what I mean? Like, he's figured out a way, like, it's either we're the same person or, you know, type shit. But that's how it all started.
How would you describe the chemistry while making this specific EP?
I love wowing people. You know what I mean? More especially, I love wowing producers who send me beats. Like, you send me your beat, and then I send you back something better than your beat. Because you made this beat, and you're like, yo, man, this is dope. I should send it to K.R.Y.T.I.C. And then K.R.Y.T.I.C jumps on it, and you get it back, and you're like, shit, I didn't even think it was this dope. You know what I mean?
And that was your experience the whole time?
Yeah, I was just trying to, like, really, that's why I tweeted, like, yo, I'm trying to do a tape with each of my favorite producers. Because in the industry that we're in, the producers don't really get their shine. You know what I mean? Especially producers of niche genres of music, like what I do. Like, who's producing for the hip hop cats? You know what I mean? So whenever I get the chance to shine a light on a producer, I'm going for it.
This is exactly why I chose this line of questioning, because I wanted you to get your shit off first, but I wanted to take a chance to just shout out myself. Yo, Rock Beats, you are dope as shit, my guy. I was fucking geeking out throughout that whole EP. Like, dog, that's
you need to tell him. You need to tell him, because he doesn't know.
No,
he has no idea. Like, he sends me these beats on like, yo, man, is this good? I'm like, oh, this is fucking crazy, dog, bro. This shit was like, and it's like, bro, I hope you like it.
This is the best way I can describe it. I walked into the EP as a fan of K.R.Y.T.I.C, and I left as a fan of Rock Beats. That's real shit.
There you go.
Like that's like there you go. It's a viral moment right there, baby. Yeah. No, that is though. So like, huge shout out to Rock Beats. If you guys didn't check the Mid-Morning Marauders yet, definitely tap in with it. The reaction's up on the channel. Make sure you always go and stream it directly. Purchase the album. We got, hopefully, did you ever get a chance to get any of those copies out to fans?
Yeah, I did. I sent them all out.
Super dope. So they're out there. Make sure you guys are fucking running that shit up, dog. Like, this is a good one. And like you said, like,
by the way, thanks for that purchase. They don't even know. Like, we didn't speak on it, but yeah, out the gate, cool. Like, as soon as you were done with as soon as the reaction came up, you bought 5 copies.
It deserved to be bought. It deserved to be purchased. Gate,
and for that, sir.
Small things. Though you sent me over a free copy. I didn't know that it was only by purchase when you first sent it. So, like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm gonna make sure I do my part. You know what I'm saying? And I already had it. So I was like, yo, just give it out to the fans. Like I want them to get the music to expand it. Word of mouth is always the most powerful, like, entity that we have as far as like getting music out to people. It's just word of mouth. You know what I mean? But yeah, dude, definitely, if you guys haven't tapped into that yet, definitely look that shit up. You're not gonna regret it. I did dislike one song on it, and I want to know if I was correct on was that Wake and Bake Joe? Was that an afterthought? Because that was the only one that had the like standard industry formula to it and was like way more repetitive than the other stuff. Like, was that one an outlier in any way during the creative process?
So there's 2 songs that there's Wake and Bake goes with another song recording wise on that project, right? I just got tired of writing during Wake and Bake, and if I recall, probably Nobody. I got tired of writing. Like, sometimes I hear a beat and I'm like, I'm gonna spend another 1 hour writing a verse for this. So for Wake and Bake, that was a freestyle. Like, it was like record, stop, record, stop, record, stop. Right. Same for Nobody. So I decided to keep those two joints on the project because I'm a huge fan of Lil Wayne. And I grew up watching him do this record, stop, and then
The
make
punches.
platinum records from it. Yeah,
Yeah.
like punching it in, you know,
Yeah.
and make platinum records out of it. And I was like, nah, I'm keeping that on the album, man. You know. But also because it was like that's exactly how that was going. It was a wake and bake, and those were the exact. It's like a recorder during. You know what I mean? Even when I say like when you were laughing at like can't believe it can't be it might be Sage. Neighbors think it might be Sage. Type.
That's yeah. Like, bro, I was definitely feeling it, especially while I was in the verse. I think it was once I realized what the entirety of it was going to be, once I realized the formula, once I picked up on that, that's when it kind of lost the enchantment on me. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, okay, I see what this is now. You know what I'm saying? But again, I'm one person's opinion. Go listen to that shit for yourself. This still has a lot of replay value. Even on my reaction, I was still geeking throughout the first verse while I was listening to it. Was this one of the projects where every time you talk to somebody, like everybody has a different favorite off of it, or was there like a clear-cut favorite off the project?
I didn't play this for nobody.
Okay. So
I didn't play this like as I've got 4 of these. This is just one of 4 projects.
We really had a GSGang exclusive, baby.
Yeah, but it also goes with like I'm kind of tired of people telling me what they think. You know what I mean? Like, because they don't know shit. Like, if we're keeping it real, like, like somebody's gonna listen to a rap song. Like I was earlier on today, I was at a little chill and played one of the record I sent you that nobody has heard. You remember that one?
I mean, I not directly. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I get shit sent to me all the time. Which one is it? Give me like an.
I DM'd you a record, but anyway, that record.
Oh shit! Yes, I do. I know exactly. Yo, that one. Yeah. Yes.
So, a friend of mine has.
I was mad you sent it. I was like, dog. I was mad. I was like, this is one for the channel. Don't send me no shit this good. Stop sending me good shit. Good shit goes on the channel.
There's 4 albums worth of those. There's 4 albums, you know, and nobody listens to them. So that joint, I was at this chill, and a guy was like, "Yo, man, why don't you put this out?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is just for me." You know what I mean? This is for practice.
Are they coming out? Are they coming out ever?
Depends on how I feel, really.
How much is it gonna take to get you to loosen the grip on some of these projects, my guy?
I don't know, man. Like a lot of this shit is life shit. You know what I mean? Like
I feel that.
Life shit. Somebody was asking me, yo, man, you need to make it in music. And I was like, I think people underestimate the relevance of hip hop music to my life. You know what I mean? Like what it does for me personally, you know? I'm the kid who, if I didn't rap, I'd have got in a lot of trouble. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, I do.
And rap is like it's what I do to stay sane, you know? So I've got a lot of moments of that, I've got a lot of moments of just hanging out with my friend and dropping a freestyle. My friend's like, yo, you need to record that right now. And I'm like, ah. So that's what some of those projects are like. Like after my mom died, I just started recording to get the feeling out. You know what I mean? Get it out, like get it out of your body, you know? Right, so there's these records that are just trapped on a laptop somewhere.
You know what I'm saying? Like therapy sessions almost, right?
Yeah.
So
free therapy.
You brought up, first of all, rest in power, obviously, to your mother. I'm sorry for your loss.
Rest in power to your pops, bro.
Appreciate that, bro. Still working on getting my own therapy sessions out with that. It'll happen eventually. But you brought up a couple good points I want to touch on, right? So I identify a lot of artists based on, how do I word this? Based on who they write for, right? So when you say something like, I'm not really trying to have, like, I don't care about opinions because they don't know shit. I would consider that, like, there are rappers who write to impress rappers, who will get the layers that go into it, as opposed to somebody who is writing to impress the masses, because the masses are always going to be, the wider you go, the less knowledgeable in hip hop that any given person is going to be. right? And the more tight knit that you get down to the actual top tier rappers themselves, you know what I'm saying? Like they're gonna be the ones that are able to pick up on the most shit. Who would you say is your target audience that you write for if you had to put like people to it?
People who love rap.
So the more dedicated hip hop heads?
As in the dedicated soul, it's like there's layers to it. My core audience, the people I'm trying to impress, is people who know what metaphors and similes and like, you know what I mean? Like somebody who's gonna get it. However, I started out listening to music because it had another utility to me than just rhymes and bars, right? It had this, I was listening to Tupac and I was like, damn, he's kind of going through something similar to what I'm going through type situation, you know?
Right.
So I might be, and I've never shot at off-duty cops before, but I write for the rappers, but I hope the people can appreciate the life behind the writing.
That's dope. That's dope.
You know.
You talked about you kind of you jumped the gun on me there. We were talking about the upcoming projects, right? So you're saying that you want to release an EP with each of your favorite producers. And a big part of that, like you said, is that producers do often get overlooked or not appreciated. A lot of your favorites, if you don't know that, sound like shit and will continue to sound like shit if it wasn't for the genius producers that are behind them that are making them superstars.
Yes,
let me make that perfectly clear right now.
Yes, sir.
But on that note, who can we look out for? Do you have the producers picked out already? Do you have the ideas for the projects, or are you doing this like as it comes to you?
I could give you a list of my favorite producers. That's you know what I mean, because I got to reach out to them.
So okay, so it's not confirmed yet. It's not like locked. It's not locked in at this point.
Yeah,
absolutely. Shout them out. Who do you got your eye
on? There's a guy called OD Mac who I'd love to do a project with. There's a guy called Jay Han. I'd love to do a project with Jay Han. I'd love to do a full project with Bachi. I would love to do a full project with K.R.Y.T.I.C. These are my favorite Zambian producers.
Are you only looking to collaborate with Zambian producers?
I mean, like only as far as my eye can see, right? Like there's I know in SA I've been looking to jump on a tape with Dominant One. I know we don't know each other or whatever, but I've been listening to his beats for a minute now, and I'm like, damn, if I could sit down for 1 hour with Dominant One, we can be the Dominant Two. You know?
They had I listened to his project that he did with Holster. I actually reviewed the whole project from him and Holster. And I could definitely see that being more on your introspective tip, like the beats and stuff like that they were producing for that. I could see that being a really dope album. That's fly. I fuck with that.
But also just like Just Blaze, you know what I mean? Just Blaze. If we can get Kanye out the cuckoo house, you know what I mean? Like some Kanye in there. Yeah. Who else? I don't really know. Hit Boy. I've got dreams. The game lived my dream life when you did a whole project with Hit Boy, bro. And I was like, what? Why you waste all those beats, game? But you know,
Nas doing him justice. Nas is doing him justice, though. He's getting his credit, man. He's getting his credit.
Yeah, that KD 1 and 2.
Yeah, they're doing the thing out there, man. So I spend a lot of time talking to the GSGang. I love talking to the fans, right? Because I'm at the end of the day, I'm just a fan who happened to start a platform. You know what I'm saying? And they tend to direct me on the type of content that they want. They educate me on a lot of like the localities, a lot of the culture, the cultural aspects that I miss out on. And they do. They point me in a direction as I dive into any scene. And one of the things that kept coming up when I was looking in the critic was NPA, no producers allowed, which is ironic. Coming off of the big producer segment that we just did. So let's talk about it, right? So it's the three of you guys, right? For no producers allowed. Ironically enough, this is the second time I think I'm on screen talking about I need to dig into Dagger. Dagger is actually on my reaction list that I just have to do it. It's there. I just have to make time to do it. And then the other one is, I'm going to say it wrong, but it's Italo Morelli. Is that correct?
Italo Morelli.
Italo Morelli. So, yeah, walk me through. What is NPA?
Like Italy, but with an O.
Got you. What is this collective? You know what I'm saying? What am I gonna find when I start digging into this? What does it represent?
So first and foremost, No Producers Allowed is not a collective. It's an initiative. All right. And the initiative behind No Producers Allowed is I just got tired of waiting for producers to send back the records. You know what I mean? Like
That's
we
fair.
recorded this on Monday. It's been
Hold
3
on, hold
weeks.
on, hold on. The fucking audacity. You just told me you leave these motherfuckers sit for 2 years. And now you're talking about I get tired because I gotta wait 3 weeks. The entitlement.
Hell yeah. It's a little bit different when my voice jumps on it. You know what I mean? But now this is not even from just like this is from the last 10 years of doing music.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like producers have got this mystique that they, you know what I mean? They move around with like, nah, I gotta tweet the thing and I gotta put the thing on the thing. And I'm like, yo, man, what? Just give me my record, bro. You know what I mean? And after, and especially because they're expensive, you know, and I'm my side hustle running a creative company, you know. So one of the creative ideas behind was like, yo, why don't there's 3 rappers in the room? Why don't we do an album without producers?
Okay. And
You
what
know what I
year?
mean?
What year was this all taking place?
This was last year.
Oh, so this is recent stuff. Okay.
This is recent, yeah. This is like a recent initiative where I was like, nah, man, we need to do something that is not so industry aligned. You know what I mean? It's not polished. It's not. It's like hip hop in the beginning. Nobody was checking to see if how's this mix or how is this thing. It was just like, yo, there's people rapping on beats. Isn't that amazing? You
So
know,
you're pulling Zambia into the mixtape era, is what it sounds like.
that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay. All right. I fuck with it. And how much music has come out of that so far?
So there's 3 full-length projects, and by
Oh
full
shit.
length I mean yeah, 10 songs. So there's No Producers Allowed 1, No Producers Allowed 2, No Producers Allowed 3. And I just feature artists who want to be heard. You know what I mean? Artists who don't want to
That's
go through the
fire.
bureaucracy of producers. And I produce the whole thing. I'm the producer on it. You know what I mean? So it's totally badly produced, but it sounds fire. Yeah, no, because like that's the whole point. People who have heard it, who are producers, hate it. You know what I mean? They absolutely hate it.
Go
Yo,
on
I
your
can
like
hear
dog. That
like
dude.
they
That's
be telling me
Cherry
shit like,
Bomb.
yo, man, I can,
Are
yeah,
you
I can
familiar?
hear like I can hear the stuff that's happening outside the studio. I can hear people talking. I can hear doors closing. And I'm like, yeah, that's what it sounds like in a cipher, you fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Like that's exactly what it is.
I fuck with that. So Cherry Bomb, an album by Tyler the Creator, right?
Mm,
I personally find it to be horrendously mixed. And it was like one of the reasons
mm.
that I fucking hated it when I first listened to it. When it first, I was like, dog, I'm not listening to this. What is this? He's too good for this. He's too, and then like,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that like, you got to be in the right zone, in the right mood where you're not like trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not about that. You know what I'm saying? You just like catch the vibe of the fucking album and shit like that. It ended up growing on me. So I can see that. That's
You know
definitely
what I realized? One thing that hit me that put me on this zone was like all my favorite albums, I don't even care about the mix.
that's fair.
I don't
That's fair.
even care. I don't care how Reasonable Doubt was mixed. I don't care how Blueprint was mixed. I don't care how the Marshall Mathers LP was mixed. I don't care how Nazir was mixed. I don't care. I don't care. You know, so what's the point? I get the point, but if we're gonna bar people to death, then why we need the 5th motherfucker in the room? You know what I mean? Like
Interesting take.
he's holding up everything.
So like I have a series that I started. This is actually this is I'm actually I might go ahead and pull your card and get you on this with me. So I do what's
Hey,
called DVD cipher. All right. So it's live spitting, no studio stuff, no voiceovers, nothing like that. Just old school DVD, hip hop DVDs. And I put out the first one is me, Stogie T, Merkums, 100 Kufis, and Black Corleone. Everybody on there is a fucking killer, dog. And like that, I'm so proud of that. I'm about to bring another one of those back and just have it like a different cat from a different country. You know what I'm saying? Be each
Put
one that
me in,
goes on it.
coach. Put
Let's
me
go,
in.
baby. DVD Cipher Volume 2 is coming.
Let's do it. Let's do
That's
it.
that's super fucking fly, dog. What would you of the NPA projects, right? Even if it wasn't
Yeah.
like a whole project, just like specific tracks or something like that, which one would you say would be best suited for the GSGang audience if I wanted to get that on the channel?
So there's this record that starts from, we've got like series. You know how you have a part 1, part 2, part 3 type situation?
Right.
There's a series from NPA 1 and 2 called Alchemy. There's a track on NPA 1 called Alchemy 1, and there's a track on NPA 2 called Alchemy 2.
Both
Just
of
for the
them?
sake of seeing the progression of things and conceptualizing, I think go with Alchemy.
All right, so let's get into. All right, I gotta. This is we gonna jump around. We gonna skip a little stuff right now because I planned on digging into some of this shit too. Alchemy 1 and 2 will be on the channel. Make sure y'all look out for that. I might not be quick, but I am efficient. We'll get to it. When you start talking about things like alchemy, my nerd brain starts doing things, right? So is this Full Metal Alchemist type bars that I can be expecting in this? Is any of this anime related? Because sometimes I be hearing shit whether it's intentional or not, and I've already picked up on a lot of anime shit in your music. Is this part of that?
Yeah, most definitely. It wasn't Full Metal Alchemist as much as it was The Alchemist, the book.
I do this shit, my guy. I live this.
Straps and figures.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, look, dude, we do nerd shit, we do gang shit, we got all like what is this you into, my guy? This is the best of
I'm
all
gonna
worlds.
renege on you and then gun you.
All right, so this is more based on the literature, not the anime.
Yeah, no, just the concept of alchemy itself, right? Like we look at it as science now, but before it was, derived into this thing, it was just people mixing shit together. And you know what I mean? A couple people died of bad concoctions type shit. So I really love the word alchemy because it's like, putting things together, and if it blows up, it blows up. If it doesn't, hey, we're safe.
So my favorite thing when it comes to alchemy is basically the tagline that comes from it, right? And that alchemy is governed by the law of equivalent exchange, which means you can't get more out of something than you're willing to put into it. And I've always thought that
Jesus.
that's a beautiful analogy that I've lived my life by. I run businesses on the side. Like I don't talk about my work and stuff like that too much. But when I find myself in a position where I'm teaching, training, and developing anywhere between 15 to 20 people in a given department at a time, right? I use the idea of alchemy and the law of equivalent exchange to kind of explain things that are like commission-based work and stuff like that. Like you're only going to get out of this what you decide to put into it. And anytime you have entrepreneurship, which music industry is entrepreneurship, the more time you put into writing, the better you're going to become a writer. The more time you put into learning music theory, the better the sonics are going to be, you know what I'm saying, in your melodies and your rhythm. Like there's a lot of stuff that's going to come out of that. I'm in, dog. Like this is my nerd shit. This is the shit that I get into that like gets me fucking hype.
Bro, I guarantee you, as soon as you press play on No Producers Allowed, you're gonna close down this channel and start on, because for real, if you think Critic is dope, you should see what Critic sounds like without a leash. You know what I mean? Without the leash of like trying to please people. This is like straight raw shit, bro. Like you ain't even gotta like
this interview's about to be over right now, just so I can go listen to this shit. You about to cut your own shit short. You better pull back a little bit. Nah, I'll definitely be tapping in.
I credit myself as having produced all 3 albums, and that's like my musical side hustle. It's like I'm also trying to produce for other people. Like I know what I want to sound like, but in my bad production skills, let me try to produce for anybody who would be willing to let me produce for them, and these niggas let me produce 3 albums, and the shit's dope. When you're gonna, I guarantee you, as you listen to, you play one song and
We'll see the
then the next
progress.
song, and then the next song, and then the next song, and then you won't be able to stop, and you listen to NPA 1, 2, and 3, and you won't stop tweeting throughout. This is a prediction now. You know what I mean? As long as you've got an ear for hip hop, as long as you love hip hop, you will be at home on this record. It's ridiculous, it's funny, it's stupid, it's just hip hop, you know?
I love it. GSGang, y'all better get on that. So I want tweets. I want to see the tweets. Y'all better go run that shit up. Let me know how y'all feel about it too. That's one we need to gang on. Cause like I got some monsters in the crews, dog. Like the GSGang don't take no shit, dog. Like they point out trash shit in a fucking heartbeat. Some of them are more savage than I would like them to be. So like that sounds like it's right up our fucking alley, dog. I'm in.
Yeah, this is for y'all. The people who get the bar.
So we got Dagger and Italo Morelli on it. Did you get watched on any of these albums? Did they get you?
Yeah. So first and foremost, these two rappers you're talking about are people who, like, you know how you have M and you've got Royce?
Mm-hmm.
These guys are like have been my sparring partners for a long time. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I was just the one who got like to put out more music. However, them still some killers. You know what I mean? Like they don't play. A lot of this will be explained when you listen to the project. But
Outside then.
I got washed on a couple of records, but it was a good sword to die on, man. Like if Stogie T killed me, I'll be like, yeah, cool. You know what I mean?
That's fair. I mean? That's fair. Yeah.
That's a good sword to die on. That was probably Jay-Z in that Renegade after that Renegade studio session. I was like,
that's fair. That's fair.
That's a good sword to die on.
That's a good sword to die on. I like that. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So make sure you guys tap in with no producers allowed. We got 3 full projects, and at least 2 of those tracks will be making it to the channel. You guys it'll be up to y'all to let me know if there's anything else on there that you guys want to see me react to before I get a hold of myself and ruin any of the reactions. Let's talk. I've been seeing a lot of activity between you and the Revert Cartel.
Before we go far, I want to ask this question.
Yeah, go.
I'm sorry, I get to ask you a question.
Absolutely, go ahead.
Do you feel like your channel has stopped you from appreciating music?
My channel has.
Like, do you go back to the records?
So there's 2. It's a double-edged sword. So I'll explain it to you, right? So there's actually 3 sides of this. Now that I think about it, it has opened my eyes to appreciate music in ways that I didn't prior to having the channel. And that looks like discovering entire ecosystems of rappers around the world that I didn't know exist. That looks like where a young, ignorant me would have shit on mumble rap and shit on something like Ampiano or Afro beats because it wasn't gritty hip hop. I have allowed myself to open my ears to new sounds and kind of like take the ball and chain that comes with trying to just be a hardened hip hop head and allow myself to just appreciate the creation of music a little bit more. I also never used to like full albums. I used to get like burnt out of a whole album. I like playlists more than I like full length albums. And after digging into the channel, I've come to love the art of putting a full project together and having a cohesive album and the difference that it can make you feel from listening to a project that's cohesive from beginning to end versus the playlist style listening. So in a lot of ways, it has enhanced my enjoyment of music overall, not just hip hop. The other side of that is I find myself not wanting to listen to new music unless the camera's on because I want to share it with the gang. You know what I'm saying? And then I do feel like my life is really busy, dog. I sleep like 3 hours a night and I'm constantly doing something between just work, personal life, and running this channel and shit like that. I do everything. I produce every video. I do every fucking edit. I do every upload. I reach out myself to every single one of the artists. Every comment response that you see on every single video is me. There's nobody else that's helping me with that shit. I do all this shit from the muscle myself. I do have my quality team that I have. Huge shout out to them. The quality team listens to the music ahead of time for me to make sure that it scores somewhat appropriately for the channel, because the last thing I want to do is like spend my time shitting on an artist when that time could be spent listening to something I like and promoting somebody dope. That's not my goal is not to bring somebody down. I'd much rather promote dope shit than shit on someone. And I don't have the ability to hide my facial expressions. If I don't like something, I don't like something. Everybody's gonna know. You know what I'm saying? So like, I will say that the volume of music that I'm able to consume has dropped down dramatically because of my want to share it with the GS gang. And then the third side of that I would say how it has affected my music is I feel like my taste, my personal preferences have kind of gotten beat down, right? Because if I'm running the channel and I'm super biased, like I prefer punchlines over schemes, right? And if I'm gonna hold on to that bias, I'm gonna miss out on a lot of dope art. You know what I'm saying? So like it's changed. It's like that taking the ball and chain off. You know what I'm saying? Like I like that analogy. I feel like whereas before I was a lot more closed-minded with like I like what I like and fuck with it's not what I like. And now because I kind of more open-minded to things, I just find myself I'm happier more, dog. Like I find myself enjoying more things and just overall less stressing about shit and less critical and more just like, man, I fucking love hip-hop, dog. I love these connections. I love the music and shit. So not to take up too much of your interview with the response, but that's the full answer.
So good, bro. It's all good. I wanted one question in the interview. It's all good.
You got a dissertation, baby.
Yeah, where are we going with it?
I wanted to. So yeah, I see that you're getting posts a lot. I seen the reposts and stuff like that from the K.R.Y.T.I.C music group. What is going on? Or is that somebody that is that a label that you're signed with? Is that just like is that a distribution? Is that just like promotion? Like who are they? What is your connection with them?
So before you can say anything, Robert, you have to mention the name Trevor Mumba. Trevor Mumba is an entrepreneur, a Zambian entrepreneur who's living in South Africa currently. And I guess he had so much success over there that he wanted to bring it home. So when he came home, he started reaching out to people who had the vision, you know what I mean? People who kind of wanted to do their own thing or people who needed something different for them, you know? And for instance, there's Rovert Cartel Music, which is the music. Then there's Rovert Logistics, who are people who like, you know what I mean, move things across borders and things like that.
Okay.
Then there's Rovert Foods, who are people. So he's like this multi-faceted
he's an entrepreneur.
kind of,
Entrepreneur. He's really okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. Shout out to him. That's dope, dog. You're putting food on a lot of tables doing that. Like that's fire, dog.
Yeah.
I love that.
So I was really tired of being on a record label. You know what I mean? Of being told what to do. And he came to me and I was like, yo, man, I got the money. What you want to do? You know, I've got a guy on this side in SA who's doing Rovert music and he needs artists. So for me, this label is like it's a label, but it's a place where they let me experiment. You know what I mean? They like, yo, figure it out. Which, if you think about how record labels run, should not be the way it should be done. You know, there should be somebody there like, hey, do this. But
this is what's trending.
But yeah, it's kind of a new space, and for me, it puts the pressure on me. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, we're gonna do anything you want to do. What do you want to do?
So you have you would you say that you have full creative license then over
most
what goes out?
definitely. Yeah, beyond that, even beyond that, I get to decide my release date. I get to decide what platforms my release is on. I get to decide where I want to post up, when I want to post up, you know what I mean? Like it's for real. Like the reins are with me, and it's like, for real, critic, what do you want to do?
So what's the point of having them? What's like, so in my mind, right? Let me start with this. In my mind, when you have a label and you have an artist's job is to go and create music, right? The label's job is to supply people who are more intelligent in the marketing fields, more intelligent in the distribution fields and stuff like that. If they're not providing those services, what exactly is their relationship with you? What is it they're providing?
Facility, right? This can't happen many other places. You know what I mean? Like to be on a label and to put out a project and the label to be like, yeah, cool, we're putting this out and we're gonna push this, we're gonna put this in the places that we put it. For me, it's a new idea, you know what I mean? It's like, all right, damn. And also it's very recent. I'm watching it grow in front of my own eyes. You know what I mean? It's kind of like
is it
all right,
so
man,
are you guys still on the as far as the, at least I know you said he's popping in SA, but is the Zambian portion of this is still in the grassroots portion of it?
most definitely.
Okay.
Most definitely. It's like, yo, man, we're gonna rock with these guys because you own what you're working with. Like nobody owns my music type shit. You know what I mean? Like I
Are
own
you
100%.
that's all right, so that's what I'm about to get into. So are you under contract with them?
Yeah.
But you still have like your masters, your publishing and everything like that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's fire. That's like
You
legit
know what
fire.
I mean? They
So
get their money off whatever deal they pull. You know what I mean? Like they get a percentage of whatever they do, but the work that I do is mine.
win or lose.
Win or lose, it's mine. I'm leaving with it. I ain't, you know what I mean? Like it's mine. You
Gotcha.
know?
Do they have resources? So let's say you're old and washed and you don't know TikTok, but you want to get something popping. Do they have resources like that available for you? We're like, yo, we do have a guy or a girl who's like fire in this shit. If you want help with your project for like this type of promotion, that they'll reach out and do that for you. Is that something they provide?
I think they do. I think personally, I think they do. I think they've got those resources. I mean, it's not always like monetary resources. Like this, for example, this interview is, you know what I mean? Not a single dollar had to cross the
Right.
threshold for this to happen, you know?
Right.
Uh, so yeah, they've got the resources to do what I need them to do what I feel like should be done for my music. You know what I mean? And yeah.
If I'm an artist in Zambia, what would be the indicators that it would be a good idea for me to get involved with them or want to get involved with them versus who do you think would not be a good fit for that? Because that is a unique situation. It's definitely more hands-on. It definitely has more responsibility on the artist. You know what I mean? So like what, as someone
If
who's
you are
living
an
it,
artist in if you're an artist in Zambia, you'd be thinking about, I need a record label that can book me shows and buy me clothes and and you know what I mean, do this bunch of things, and you'd be thinking like an artist. What they provide for you is they let you be a partner in your own business. You know what I mean? The business
I
of
like
your
that.
art. As opposed to thinking about this like, yo, man, I need somebody to pay for these videos. How about, you figure that part out and own it all yourself, as opposed to like, yo, I'm just here getting my 15% off my own records type shit. You know, we've had situations, a
Gotcha.
lot of record labels popped up in Zambia where they were throwing money at artists. You know what I mean? Like mad money. You know what I mean? Like crazy racks at artists. And it took like 2, 3 years that now all that is crumbling because it's like,
Damn.
niggas is trying to wash their money, and you know what I mean? It was never
Right.
about the art. So it was just a guy with a lump sum of money, and he was like, you guys wash my money for me. And the artists all came running and they were like, hey, let's do that for you. And now there's all sorts of problems with the law, and you know what I mean? I'm cool not playing that game because I know what that game ends up as. Those artists who are being signed for all that money are still going to have to cut the check at the end of their contract.
Right.
You know what I mean? At the end of
A
my
lot of
contract.
so they don't real a lot of people don't realize the difference between like, hey, when they think when you sign somebody that you're gifted $1 million, they don't realize that it's
Yeah.
a loan, that it's an advance, that you have to like
Yeah.
that they get that back plus some. You know what I mean? So you're saying this is
So
more.
basically,
I get it.
what Rovert is doing differently is like, as opposed to giving you a loan, they're one, giving you support, and two, making an opportunity for you to make that money yourself
I got you.
in ways more than your music. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm signed to Rovert, right? But I'm doing a radio show with them.
Okay, that's dope.
You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
in
yeah.
more
So
ways than just music.
So you
You
and
know,
so be,
like
this is and that's one of the beautiful things about getting involved with grassroots entrepreneurship is there's a lot of roles that need filling. And if there's an interest, you know what I'm saying, to grow with the company, that's fire. That's fire. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. I guess last question on that, because based on what you told me, because they're based in South Africa, is this opening up international collaboration opportunities for you?
most definitely.
See, that smile tells me there's something working. What is that smile? I need to like what are we talking here? Who are we talking about? Anyone that would light up the GSGang's interest?
I mean, I don't want to preempt nothing, bro, but like, yeah, we've knocked on a couple of doors I wouldn't have been able to knock on myself. You know what I mean? Like,
That's
there's a
fire.
couple of doors being knocked on, and things are working and things are moving. I'm currently in the process of recording my next project, which is like may drop in the next 5 years. I don't know, but you know, yeah, there's a couple of phone calls that we can make, and there's a couple of phone calls that have been made, and the people on the other end of the phone calls are definitely going to be interesting for you to hear me being paired with.
I'm very excited for this. What is your relationship with Zubs? I wanted to ask you that ever since I first literally first like discovered you and started listening to your music. I started like, for those that don't know the story, I actually fucked up and I ended up just like thinking Critic was another name that got sent over to me, and I listened to his project on my own off camera. And there's only a handful of songs. I have over 1,000 videos on my channel. There's only a handful of songs I've ever put on the channel that I've already listened to, and I label it a review as opposed of a reaction, because it's not really what the channel's about. But this shit was so dope. I was like, nah, I need this shit on there, right? How did that feature, that relationship, and everything like that come about? Like, I know he has ties to Zambia, like himself, but how did your relationship with him come about?
Before I big him up, I want to big up the guy who opened the door for this. There's a guy called Double HP. I don't know if you're familiar with
I am
SA hip hop.
I'm
The late great
S
Double HP.
rest in power.
Uh,
Yeah, I SA hip hop is probably what I'm most versed in terms of the countries in Africa. That was my
I mean,
opening into African hip hop.
while we're here, rest in peace, Pro Kid. You know what I mean? While we're here.
Absolutely. Rest in
uh,
peace, Ricky.
in the yeah, rest in peace, Ricky. In this little corner of Africa where I'm at, the first sort of like real hip hop, real African hip hop we're getting was South African hip hop, right? So I grew up on Zubs, like literally, like I grew up listening to his records, you know, and I've been rapping for a minute. One day I looked up and I had Chilu Lemba's phone number. Chilu Lemba is the guy who runs a company with Zubs, you know. And somebody just said it to me randomly in passing. It's like, yo, man, you should ask Chilu Lemba about getting on a record with Zubs.
Yeah, maybe I should. Okay.
All right. Let me do it. And then he hollered back and I was like, oh shit. You know, and yeah, we did the record and he blamed me on that shit. But yeah.
That shit was fire, dog. That's all right. So that's cool. I have nothing but positive interactions with Zubs. So I first reacted to him. I went from reacting to him on I think Heavy 8, his John, he did the Heavy 8 John that he put out. That's
Yeah.
like classic shit, right?
He had
And
Proverb on it.
yeah, and like, so like this is a story. I don't think I've told this story before. Stogie T had I mean, he may still do it, but he has a situation where he runs a hip hop masterclass. And this is for like people who are not involved in hip hop. This is for like elite businessmen and shit like that, like people who are like established in their life, you know what I'm saying, who also just happen to be fans of hip hop that wanted to learn more about it. And I got invited as a guest to sit in on this masterclass, and the other guest was Zubs. It was me and Zubs. sitting in on this masterclass with fucking stuff. Dude, the door has been open for incredible opportunities for me. I am forever in debt to this channel and what it has allowed for me to experience, dog. But yeah, dude, listening to him talk and just having the experience to like hear like people who really give a fuck about hip hop get to dig in their hip hop bags and shit like that, dog. It was incredible. It was super, super surreal, man.
I had this crazy moment where, sorry to take it away from Zubs for a moment, right? But Double HP was doing this walk from South Africa to, I can't remember where, but he was doing this thing. You know, he was walking across the continent or some shit. And one of the places he was gonna come was Zambia, you know. And finally he was there. My manager at that time was like, yo, man, I can hook you up to be one of the stops that it gets to, and you can get in this. I was like, get the fuck out of here. You fucking like, fuck out of here, you know? And then there he was. He walked into the store and I was like, shit, that's Double HP, bro. And was smoking a cigarette, and he just kept talking about this guy called Zubs. You know what I mean? The reason he kept talking about Zubs was because Zubs was, I think, raised in Zambia or some shit.
Right.
I don't know if he was born here or something, but he's got a connection to Zambia. And he just kept talking about this guy. And I was like, damn, shit. You know, and I got both of them on a record. You know what I mean? So
that's fire. That's fire. What are so there are definitely going to be legacy records like that where it's just like, man, good, bad, ugly, indifferent. The fact that I got the chance to make these, like these ones are the ones that are like closest to my heart. What tracks do you have like that? Like which ones would you say are like, man, this was big for me, regardless of what anyone else thinks about it?
I got this record with Exile. Exile is like he's now called Israel. He's a phenomenal musician from Zambia. Phenomenal. Like legacy act type shit. You know, he just does legacy shit now. That was one of my, because my mom was a fan of him, you know. And my mom would always get on me like, where are you going with this rap shit? Blah 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 blah. And this one time I came home and I had a record with her favorite artist. You know?
Oh, that's a moment. That's a moment. That's a moment.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely got Exile on that list. I did this record with Double HP that never came out, you know, because somebody leaked it, and so the label never put it out. Definitely fried yams. Definitely fried yams. Like I should laminate that and put it somewhere. That is definitely something I look back on. Who else? Who else? I think that's about it. That's about it.
Do you have like a target bucket list for yourself?
Most definitely.
What does that look like? Give me a little glimpse.
Steve Bussa.
Let's go, baby. DVD cyber coming soon.
Yeah, definitely Cole. J. Cole's on that list. Jesus Christ. I don't know why I want to die on this sword, bro, but like Eminem's on that list. You know, I want to kill AKA or Casper Nyovest just for the culture. You know what I mean? Just so my people back home can know that they can die. You know what I mean? Like, bring it back home, bring a head back, like you see. You know, who else? Jay-Z, man. If I ever got a Jay-Z verse, as rare as they are now, if I ever got a Jay-Z verse, then shit, man, I'll be good. You know? But a lot of them are also not like rappers, man. A lot of them are just like music people, like Freshly Ground, like Angelique Kidjo. You know what I mean? Like it's not all rap on my list.
Right. I mean, a lot of the people that I talk with, the artists that I speak with and stuff like that, like have more of like a penchant towards vocalists, especially nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Like I talked to P.O from South Africa, actually. He's like a huge proprietor with that. Like he's always talking to like looking for the next best vocalist to like mesh with his style and stuff like that. So you're not alone in that. Like I think that's a lot of times rappers pair well with musicians of other genres and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like the music that's created is different. I feel like, you know what, too, like a lot of times in hip hop, whenever you get a hip hop feature on a hip hop album, everybody wants to make it who killed who. It's not about the creation of the art, it's who had the better verse. You know what I'm saying? And like I feel like that tension disappears a lot. You know what I'm saying? When you have a musician and a rapper on the same track, then people tend to just open their ears to like what's being said and what's being created. You know what I mean?
That was going down during the entire How to Rap process. Like during the entire creation of that album, people kept turning to me like, "Oh," I was like, "Yo, Cam's my guy. Chill the fuck out." You know? I didn't come here to do that. We're just trying to make the best records we can make, you know. But it is what it is.
I did enjoy that, and I see that too. And I'm guilty. I'm as guilty as the next one. When I talk about people doing this shit, I'm number one always. I ain't shit. You know what I mean? I ain't shit. Because I was like, huge shout out to Cam. I think I was fair in my breakdown of that album. You know what I'm saying? I think both of you definitely bring different elements to the track, and it does create a certain unfairness when the only metric that you're looking for is who barred the other one to death. You know what I'm saying?
When it comes to bars, like once we leave music theory, once we leave, you know what I mean? When we get down to the substance of the raps, nah, I'll be cooking them, bro.
Was there? I'm curious. Was there ever a time with anyone that you know? Because I do react to a lot of cats from Zambia now. Like huge shout out to anybody that I've come in contact with. There's still a lot to discover. We're still very new into the Zambian scene and stuff like that. Has there been any talk or anything like that, or from you personally, where I may have rubbed somebody the wrong way or rubbed you the wrong way in something that I've said in a review or reaction so far?
Has there been on my side of things?
Yeah.
Well, I'm also a hermit, man. I don't listen to oh no, you know what I mean? Like I'm gotcha. In this little space, you know. No, it's just I guess they were kind of mad when you said that I was cooking them subliminally, but you know what I mean? Yeah, but that's it. It's not really a big deal. Like even while we're recording How to Rap, I remember there was the day we finished recording the album, we were hanging out at a bar, and Cam said this in front of a bunch of people. I was like, "Oh man, this guy cooked me on a bunch of records," you know. So it's not like it causes any disparity between me and the artist. Like Cam's my guy, man. Loved him forever, you know. Yeah, I haven't heard anything that has.
Cool. I'm gonna make it clear too. Huge shout out to them. Huge shout out to the album too. I had fun reacting to that too. Anything that I say, right? Like here's what I try to tell people about the channel is my opinion is only one, right? Like the point of having the platform versus me going and listening to it myself and putting a tweet out is that every other person that watches the video gets to tell me to fuck off if they don't agree with you. Know what I mean? Like people get to form their own opinions. And at the end of the day, all I'm providing is the platform for people to go and form their own shit. You know what I'm saying? So like
you have a video explaining this somewhere up here. If this is below the videos, isn't it the first video on your channel?
That's the negative comments one, I think.
Yeah, it's like it's basically the same thing you're explaining, like, yo, you shouldn't really, I'm just one guy, you know what I mean? Like, this is just my opinion. Don't take it to heart, man. Like, there's billions of people on this earth.
Exactly. And the biggest thing, every single one of my videos, every reaction you watch from me ends the same way. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. You know what I'm saying? I want to open up the dialogue because whether you like something or you hate something, if we're talking about it, you're creating a buzz for the artist. You're creating an opportunity for other people to hear that and go and tap in themselves and form their own opinions. And that's how, like brick by brick, baby, that's how you grow a fan base, one ear at a time. You know what I'm saying?
I know it sounds very into myself, but I haven't experienced you being wrong, bro. Like even, you know what I mean? Like even on like when you, for example, when you said Wake and Bake doesn't fit in the album, I could have been like, oh shit, this could have been a perfect album. Why you shit on that song? It's like, nah, man, it's the person's reaction. I've had people tell me that's their favorite record. Right. You know what I mean? It's just like take everything in stride type shit, you know?
I love it. Let's go. all right, let's dig into the types of bars and shit like that too, right? Because I have this thing in my head, and I could be wrong. I'm usually not, but I could be wrong. Where I feel like when I'm listening to an artist, based on the subject matter that comes out, you get a good understanding of somebody's character. You can easily pick out somebody's interest and shit like that. I pick up on a lot of anime and video game bars when I'm listening to your music, and I'm a fucking nerd, dog. I'm covered in tattoos from one side to the fucking other. Everything is video games and anime and shit like that. How big of a role does it actually
Is
play in
that
your
like
life?
Baby Yoda on your t-shirt?
Yay, damn right. Like, we do this shit, dog. Like I like the balance of gangster shit and nerd shit. In the hood, it's always been like, you know what I'm saying? Like you grew up under shitty circumstances, but we was watching DBZ while we was living through it all. You know what I'm saying? So like what role, if any, or I could be off base, but what role, if any, you know what I mean, do the video games and anime and that nerd kind of like life play for you?
I'm gonna answer this two ways. I hope I remember the second way. Firstly, literature changed my life, right? So just like my earliest memory, my mom had this job where during the holidays she got the opportunity to help at the library for extra money or some shit. And she would take me with her, you know. So my earliest memories of life are sitting cross-legged in an aisle of books that my mom is covering, but she keeps handing me these books to read to keep me busy. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't fuck around and fuck up her steez, you know? So I'm talking about Tintin comics. I'm talking about Mills and Boone. I'm like all these books and, you know, just feeding this unfortunate kid, you know? And then when I linked up video games, I was like, this is another step from things on a page. You know what I mean? It's like, shit, this is like a video, this is like a movie that you can participate in, you know, especially when they got really good, you know, like I'm talking the next gens and, you know what I mean? When somebody who doesn't know any better can distinguish between FIFA and an actual football match, it's when you realize like, oh shit, these guys are treading dangerous territory, right? And then beyond that, one of my friends put me on Naruto, right? And I'd been shitting on them for like a year. They're like, yo, man, you really love Naruto. I'm like, man, I don't know. Just ninjas and and they're like, nah, you're gonna really love. There you go. Who's that? I need to see. Is that Sasuke?
Orochimaru.
Oh, that's Orochimaru. Snake
Bitch
man.
ass Sasuke, get the fuck out of here.
I couldn't see. All I could see was the fringe. I thought it's like the new Sasuke, the Sasuke in Boruto.
Yeah, nah, we waiting for these motherfuckers to die. I don't fuck with him at all. But go ahead. You gonna get look. Anime is a whole different interview, dog.
And then one day when I was watching, after I got into Naruto, I turned to the person who had explained it to me. I was like, "Oh man, this is some dope shit." And I'll never forget the phrase they said to me. They said, "Anime is life." You know what I mean? And since then, I haven't been able to unsee the connection between anime and life. You know what I mean? Like, it's always there in front of me. Like, whether it's Bleach, whether it's One Piece, whether it's whatever I'm watching, there's just this connection with real life that people seem to overlook because these are like cartoons and, you know what I mean, or video games.
They just don't know.
People skip the whole point, you know, and yeah, that's my relationship with video games and anime.
That's dope. What was the second thing that you wanted to say?
The second thing I already said. Sorry.
Okay.
I mushed them together.
I think one of the things that I connect with that specifically with hip hop is the more things that you are cultured in, the more resources you have to pull when it comes to writing. Yeah. And it's not really surprising for me to hear that you're heavy into literature and you're able to write the way that you write, that you're heavy into anime or video games and things like that. And it ends up seeping through into the bars. and allows you to connect to a wider audience. You know what I'm saying? Because like you have those niche pockets where people look for the anime bars, you know what I'm saying? Where people look for the video game bars and shit like that. That's fire. Give me like if I'm watching this.
Before you jump, when you did the review for fried yams, right? Somebody hit me. I was like, "Yo, Steve Bussa did the review for fried yams," and I looked at the thumbnail, and it had Gogeta on it. You know what I mean? And I was just like, he got the bar.
we be looking for them, baby. That shit, I geeked out for 10 minutes on that shit. I was like, nah, we doing this one. We doing this. This is going on the channel. This got going on the channel.
Yeah, but you were gonna say.
I was gonna say, it's like, so let's say like for the cats, like anywhere, we'll do the watching this and may not be into anime. What would you suggest? Give it like 3 titles, right? For ones that would like be good startups in your opinion to get somebody into the genre.
Death Note. Jesus, I'm old school. Claymore.
Okay.
And I'm always Jesus Christ. There's so many Demon Slayer.
Okay, so we got, that's a mixed bag. That's a mixed bag, old school and new school. Okay, I see you.
Yeah.
I think Death Note is a really good introduction to anime for people who tend to clown on like Dragon Ball Z or something like that because it's too actiony, and like people like it's a great introduction for people who like the suspense, the drama, and shit like that. Yeah, you know what I mean. So that's dope. All right, while we're on the topic of your character, all right, there are 2 things that I've seen come up between music and Twitter, and I wanted to just pick your brain real quick on it to see if it's something that I've been off base on or if it's something that's like that's like resides within you, right? So you're really big on respect, right? I see you shutting down a lot of hateful comments. When like on Twitter, there's I've noticed you confront people on religious topics, confront people on gay bashing topics and things of that nature. And it seems like you always find you in a position where you're standing up for others. Is that something that's like intrinsic in you? Is there a reason for that? Like where does that stem from?
Rationale, I guess. You know what I mean? I'm just talking about the things that make sense to me. It makes no sense for people to bother themselves with, think, for example, we're heterosexuals, right? It's not like every heterosexual conversation involves sex,
right,
or how we have sex, right? But the homosexual, bisexual, transsexual conversation is restricted to the sex of it. You know what I mean? Like, and it gets very, very childish for me. It's like, especially in a conservative nation like the one I live in, it's like, no, but how are you gonna make babies? Or like, it's such all these arbitrary, pointless points, and I'm just like, Vafankulo, this, you know, and I feel because I grew up very homophobic, you know, and part of it is like, yo, I gotta make amends, you know, and do the right thing, you know, because I've been in a position also where I was, before anybody knew about me, I was the person who was bashing gay people. I was the person who was, you know, I was on that side. So I'm like, there's really no reason. It just stems from fear. It just stems from a misunderstanding. And if you're not willing to address this misunderstanding, then daily I'll put it in front of your face just to make you realize that, yeah, the critic I love, loves gay people. You know what I mean? And if he can rationale it, then surely you can.
That's beautiful. What do you think? So I don't think you're alone in that sentiment by a long shot, specifically with those of us who came up in hip hop. I think that there was a certain level of I guess prejudice, you know what I mean? That's always like the homophobia. Whether or not it was ever actually homophobia or just the use of the slurs, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times, like just because in my experience, just because somebody used like the slur for gay people didn't actually have anything to do with gay people. We just took it as a way to insult straight people. You know what I mean? And I think that was definitely heavily prominent in hip hop in general. what do you think, as somebody who made that transition, what was the turning point? You know what I'm saying? Like, was it just life? Was just like maturity, a certain age? Was there an interaction? Was like what was? Because like I'm just out of curiosity. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was the point where that evolved, in your opinion?
Man, trees changed my life, bro. You know what I mean? Like they
What did? Say that again.
absolutely trees. You know what
Trees.
I mean?
Oh, okay. Okay.
The weed, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it changed my life. I got to a position where there was a very prominent gay person, right? And everybody was getting on them about it. And at this point, I was working on radio, and I really didn't know how I felt about it. You know, I personally, I had no idea. I was like, all right, how do you feel about it? So what I chose to do was to go and visit him and kick it with him for a day and just, get your own understanding of shit. You know what I mean? Like, stop hearing
Right.
about this from other people. So I went over there, kicked it with him the whole day and left. And I was like, yo, man, man's is cool. You know what I mean? You just stuck up in your own head about some shit, you know? And that's where it came from. It was just being stuck in my own thoughts and a lot of trees, bro.
Just I also like just straight up going out and just beating people instead of forming opinions before,
Yeah,
off
like
of.
why would you make that opinion? You know what I mean? Like that's fear, right? You gotta build an opinion around your fear.
See that
But
now, and
otherwise, it's like, when I got to speak to him, it's like it's the coolest person. We were rapping Jay-Z bars and you know what I mean? Like
oh,
I had
turns
one
out
of
this
the
is
greatest
just some guy.
teams. Yeah, and I'm like, shit, you're just a guy. Cool, And from that perspective, I hate to say it like this, but I began to accumulate gay people in my life. You know what I mean? I hate to say it like that, but I made
I
it a
get
point. I'm just like, no, seeing as there's no reason that we can't be friends. Oh, now I'm getting all of them. Like, you come through, you know what I mean? And yeah, and like with each one that I met, it's like, yo, damn, y'all get doper and doper by the fucking, you know what I mean? Like, shit, man, this is dope. And just more like met producers, met musicians, and just like,
that's
shit.
fire.
You mean I was closing myself in this little thing and I could have, been met y'all before type shit.
This is gonna be a great promo for selling weed and bigotry. Legalize everything and bigotry, right?
Yeah.
In the same vein, specifically in your music, I do notice like the defense of women, the defense of what I interpret as defense of women, what I interpret as defense of sex workers, and in that same vein of like, whereas hip hop has traditionally had an outward derogatory view almost, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of music out there that would be considered derogatory towards women. There are a lot of music out there where you would consider derogatory towards sex workers, or objectifying sex workers, you know what I'm saying? Is that, do you have like the same views? Is that just the same exact thing? Like,
That was a little ish, should I dare I say closer to home. That line where I was like, I spoke about it with that prostitute in that hotel was like, it was many firsts, you know what I mean? For me, it was like, I was young, had my first job, had my first paycheck, you know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah, shit, what's going on? And I think this night is gonna end in like partying and partying, and I'm at the end of it, I'm left with all this money and just sex workers, you know what I mean? And ended up with one. And she was just the last thing I thought a sex worker would be. You know what I mean? And the same thing, like find out for yourself type situation.
right.
And we had this dope ass combo, and I was like, oh shit, you're a person too. Like, damn, you go through the same fears, the same shit that I go through, you go through it. It's just like your job is different from mine. You know what I mean? And even just the way people view your job is different from the way people view my job. So it became a little bit more poignant to get that advice from somebody who's, you know, for you to be willing to give that advice and that's your job, you must really care. For me, it was like, you must really give a fuck because I'm paying you, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. And like beyond that, it's just come from like, yeah, just empathize with people the way you'd like people to empathize with you, you know, because we all fucked up one way or the other.
There's a thing that happened when I joined Twitter, and I believe that the part of my heart longs for the time where celebrities had mystery about them, where we didn't see every thought that a celebrity had, where we didn't see every opinion that an artist had on every topic that came out. And I ended up finding myself distancing myself from artists who musically I may fuck with, who I've come to find whose personal ideologies, in my opinion, didn't align with my own beliefs or were archaic, right? I can honestly say, in my opinion, for what it's worth, I love you, Doug. I think you're a beautiful human being. Having the opportunity to have these conversations with you, I think this is super important. I love having the chance to expose my audience to this type of conversation with somebody that I respect musically this much. This means a lot to me that you're willing to have these conversations and to the stances and share your life experiences and shit like that. This I want you to like this, like shit like this transcends far beyond just hip hop and into me trying to create a community that's inclusive for everybody and shit like that. Like I sincerely appreciate you, my guy.
Big love, bro.
That was fire. I love that. This conversation was dope. Man, where the fuck do we go from that? All right, I gotta.
I was gonna ask you. I was gonna ask you who your favorite rapper is.
Joe Budden, and it's not close. So
Jesus Christ, you emo guy.
Yeah, so ironically, you say that Joe Budden's music saved my life. I would have killed myself in my early 20s, and in my
real mood music, baby.
You know it, baby. You know it.
Nice.
I did. I had a really dark spell in my early 20s, and I found myself.
Sorry, my cat wants to be part of it. My cat wants to be part of this interview for some reason.
That's where all the clicks are gonna come from. They're gonna come to see the animals, man.
Yeah, animals work on YouTube.
Oh, absolutely. The algorithm's gonna go nuts now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like
relax.
Early 20s, his music got me out of a very, very dark situation that I found myself in mentally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not only that, but I do believe he is my number one lyricist of all time. When I listen to something like Ordinary Love Shit Part 4, I don't know of another record that has that many quotables in life. Like when it comes to real life shit, world shit, girl shit like that, like there's nobody to me, hopefully, put it this way, I never want to be able to relate to somebody else's music the way I had to relate to his music to survive. You know what I'm saying? Like, so hopefully I never find myself in that position again. Hopefully I never find myself needing music that severely in my life again. And I did. I met him.
What if you find yourself in a position where you make that music that people need?
So I rap and I battle, and I'm very, very good at what I do. I got a battle coming out in November. I got a battle coming out in December. Huge shout out, check me out in the cards on Twitter. I like making people feel bad about themselves. I don't make good. I'm serious. Like, I'm not like, take the channel away. If you're talking about me as a person, I'm not a good person. I've never claimed to be a good person. I get a lot of enjoyment from tearing people down. And this channel has been a lot of personal growth. I've realized that I ended up liking the positive aspects versus the violence aspects. Like if you look at my tone, even from like the early reactions to the newer reactions, my whole kind of like view on the world and the mission that I feel like I've taken up with the GSGang has changed. You know what I'm saying? So like I do not have it in me to make the music that saved me when it comes to art. When it comes to art, that other side comes out. I can tear somebody the fuck down like it ain't nobody's business. Like that's my shit, dog. Like that's my therapy is taking it out that way. And like you said, you mentioned earlier, like dog, rap
I want to
singing.
say is you never know, Steve. You never
No, I
know.
tried. I tried. I was trash
No,
at
but
it,
like,
dog.
think of it this way, right? Think of it this way. Joe Budden never, ever, ever made any quote unquote positive music.
That's not true. I mean, you're talking to someone who knows catalogs. Like, this is the one catalog you're not gonna.
Like, Joe Budden's not going into that record saying like it's gonna be rosy.
That's
You know
true.
what I mean?
It's more of a realistic view on things.
It's very skeptic. It's very, you know what I mean? It's very worried. It's very tense music.
Right.
At the core of it, it's very emotional.
Absolutely.
And that's like the human condition, right?
Absolutely.
What people relate to is not that. If anything, Joe Budden may even feel like, I wish I made more happy music. You know what I mean? Like, maybe. Now that his career is over, but you're here relating to what was his quote unquote pain.
Right.
You know? Thanks. So even you, like, you don't, the point I'm trying to raise is like, you may think you're not best suited to do a thing, but you don't know who's going to be best suited to get inspired of the thing that you do.
I respect that. I'll accept that.
You know?
I can accept and respect that. The only thing that I will put is, as an asterisk to that is, you remember you talked about Homeboy, where you was like, I got this guy and I listened to him and I told him and I was like, hey, this might not be for you. And he, like, that's me, dog. I have an ear for music and I've heard my shit back. Like, give me some, I'll tear some shit up. I can freestyle, I can do my writtens and shit like that. Acapella, that is my bag, dog. I like having that freedom. You talked about with the fucking NPA shit, right? You like that freedom, you know what I'm saying, to be able to go and do what you do. That's what battle rap is to me. Like, there are certain things when a beat is involved that the white side of me doesn't have the rhythm for. It's just I struggle really, really bad when that beat comes on. But I'm self-aware, dog. I'm self-aware, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be like,
theory.
I've been trying to catch it. It's hard, dog. It's hard for me out here, dog.
Yeah, fun story. I was back in the day, me and my boys went to watch a prominent rapper. I won't say any names, but he's a prominent rapper. You've done a reaction to him before. Okay. that's all I'm gonna put out there. So we went to watch him perform, and he was, you know, like, he was on the mic doing his thing, but you know, like, hand movements while you're rapping. His hand movements were offbeat.
Dog. Anytime, any reaction I have, dog, there's always that one person that got to point out, what the fuck is his head doing? Because I'd be like, I'd be like, getting it, be like, he is not on beat at all. And he listens to that shit. I'm like, fuck y'all, I know, I'm enjoying myself. Let me enjoy myself. God damn it.
My dog was like, yo. And I'm still dying to this day. I'm just like, every time I think about it, I'm like, it's just a kick and a snare. Chill. You know?
It's hard, though. It's complicated.
I feel you. Two-step whenever it gets rough.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, no, I get my two-step on, absolutely. I came up, I got very lucky, and I came up in the party scene generation where Wallies were a thing. So all I had to do was just had to stand back, let Shorty do her thing. You know what I'm saying? I look good. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, this is my shit.
Just mean mug the whole night.
Absolutely, dog. Then we was dancing to G-Unit shit, so I didn't have, you know what I mean? Like, there wasn't a lot of pressure.
That was like the first time I ever went to a club. So the people who introduced me to drinking were like older kids, you know. So they took me to this club, and G-Unit was really big. 50 was really big at that time. So we get into this club, and unbeknownst to me, they had beef with the people at the club we were going to, right? So we're driving. I'm just a kid, you know, like riding with the big homies. Well, so before, like, maybe like 10 meters before the club, these guys switch the song, and it's like 50 Cent on some, I'll whip your head, boy. You know, I'll whip your head, boy. And it just gets dark and gritty in the car. And I'm like, wait a minute. What the fuck is going on here?
I'm in danger. What is happening?
Yeah, this is not right. And we pull up, and I'll never forget, like looking out the window and seeing them, seeing us pulling up, playing With Your Head, and the disappointed and fearful look on their eyes. I was like, oh, this is what this is. Yeah, I'll whip your head, boy. You know what I mean? Like get in class now. Yeah.
That's fine. I think we all have an experience. In my experience, I also like playing the wrong music in the wrong neighborhood, shit like that. Like that's especially in Philly. Like when like I came up on like a lot of the beefs like in Philly at that time was like Cassidy versus Freeway type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that was like the era where I was like outside. We was because we battled. I was came from the DVD era. That's why I do the DVD ciphers and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you can look up, there's a lot of footage of 18-year-old me rapping my fucking ass off. If you dig on the chat, you dig deep enough, you'll find it and shit like that.
Now I'm going looking for it.
It's all there, dog. I think I probably have like 30 freestyles on my on my channel alone. Like you don't have to look that hard. It's all there. But like there have been times like I've had guns pulled out on me in the middle of fucking ciphers and shit like that for saying the wrong thing to the wrong person. Like shit was real. You know what I'm saying? Is like those. But dude, they form some core memories. I'll tell you what.
You grow with that shit.
Yeah, you're right. All right, maybe. All right, we're gonna take that line out. We're gonna change that.
For me, it just told me, like, especially when I was growing up, right? All the people that I battled, say, before I ever got on radio were older than me. You know what I mean?
Right.
All of them. And
Yeah,
when I say
same.
older than me, not only older than you, but like older than you and known for doing dirt. You know what I mean? Like in the hood, like everybody knows, like you don't go to old boy and talk to shit like that.
Yeah,
And then
you
I
might
went
want
to
to
old
you
boy
might
and
want to take
talked
a
my
dive on
shit
this
like,
one.
yeah, like
Want,
you might want to be whack for today. You know what I mean?
it
And I was
benefits
like,
you.
nah, none of that shit, bro. You know, and like I rapped against some of the most insane, like, you know what I mean? You never have guessed it. So when I got to radio, it was like, yeah, I've already done the worst. The worst is behind me. You know what I mean? Like,
I can do the radio shit easy. This is nothing.
nobody's gonna try to snuff me here, bro.
Right.
You
The
know, and if they try,
doors are
hey,
locked.
yeah,
That's fine,
yeah.
dog. All right, let me try and wrap some of this stuff up. I know I'm taking a lot of your time. I appreciate your time today, dog.
Bro, I could do
this
this
has been
all day.
fire.
This,
This
like
has
I'm
been
saying, this
fire.
is the best interview I've had in the last 10 years.
Yo, baby. That's how we
Yeah.
do. I want to talk
Yes,
about fans. You have some dope ass fans. And they have assimilated into the GSGang very, very well. I like the commentary that they put out for you. I like the energy that they represent you with. Specifically nowadays, there are a lot of toxic fan bases. I don't care to name names. But there are a lot of fan bases where a lot of times, like as an artist, I think I wonder if artists are proud of their fans sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Are proud of the people that tend to follow them. And when it comes to your specific group that follows you, right? How do you view them? Are you proud of them? Is there things you wish they didn't do? Do you like how you're represented? Like what is your view for them? Talk to your fans for a second for me.
I don't think I'm mad at my fans. You know what I mean? My fans get it, you know, and I've been doing this so long that I've watched some of my fans grow. You know what I mean? Some of my fans were like fresh out of high school when they started listening to me. You know what I mean? And now they're like people with 2 kids. And I know some of them because, like, you know what I mean? Like, and they're still listening to my music type shit. And those are the people I love, man. Like, this interview wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for them, you know, because they sort of like everything that I can't achieve with monetary gain or, you know what I mean, or like connections or whatever, they supplement that for me. Like wherever that I can't reach myself, my fans are like, I got you, bro. We on Steve Boossa's page, and you know what I mean? that type shit. And I love it because for me it's ridiculous that some of these are people who I've never met before, people who I don't know, people who have got their own lives to live. And
Right.
they give me that, you know, that 5 seconds, or a kid who just came from Ndola City rapping this shit, bro. Like, This is ridiculous to me, bro. There's people who are in like
That's
huge
fire.
ass offices doing crazy ass shit. You know what I mean? Running amazing schemes on 10 million kwacha and 200 million kwacha. And then they turn away from all that and be like, yeah, but I'm still a critic fan. And for me, that's the juice right there.
That's fire. Huge shout out. Do you have a name for your fan base?
The dictatorship.
The dictatorship. Let's go. Huge shout out to the dictatorship. I like that. I like that. That flow, that come off the tongue real easy. That's fire. I like
Yeah,
that, man.
I've been practicing.
Yo, huge shout out to y'all. For those of you, if you've
Yeah.
ever left a comment and in support of Critic on my page, if you've ever put a tweet in support of the GSGang or anything like that on my page, Doug, I just want to thank you. You guys are absolutely dope. And one of the benefits of discovering fire ass artists like this guy right here is that I do get to create relationships with a lot of their fan base as well. And I've had nothing but pleasurable experiences personally from everybody who's been supporting you. So huge shout out to the dictatorship. That's fire, Doug. Super, super fire.
Big love to the dictatorship.
We don't
Like
do
most artists
anything.
say, I wouldn't be anything without you.
That's what I was just about to say. Like we don't accomplish anything by ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, I'm just some guy talking to himself in front of a camera without y'all. You know what I mean? Like it's the community that makes it what it is and gives the power to it that it has. So that's fire, Doug.
Uzerski.
Speaking of people who be putting shit on, I cannot talk to somebody in Zambia without having a huge shout out to Holster. Holster is Holster is that guy. Like he's
and in fact, before we even go to Holster today, Holster has always been this guy. From 2000 and I met Holster like probably 07 buzzing days, you know what I mean? Holster got me my first placement in a magazine. I didn't even know him. You know what I mean? I didn't even know him or whatever, but he was working at this place called Trendsetters, and they had a magazine that they would put up, and he had this little column that he used to write. And he put me in that. And then shortly after that, he put me in the Hype magazine. And like, he's just always been this guy. Even this connection was Holster, you know?
Facts. Yeah.
If there's anybody who's the godfather of Zambian hip hop, it's most definitely on 100% the Holster.
Get your flowers, my guy. And I co-sign
That's
that
the
shit.
Holster. There would be no Zambian hip hop as it is today if it wasn't for the Holster. That man has carried this thing on his back when no one was looking, when no one was cheering, when no one was doing none of that shit. It only looks good now when we get to like big up his name. But this man was managing artists. This man was putting artists together. This man was making shows. This man was doing the whole thing, you know? And shout out to him, man. There's few like him in this industry.
Very few. And
in fact, if I can go far, I can say there's none like him, you know?
There aren't enough flowers that I could personally give to somebody who goes out of their way to not only promote their own music, to put artists on their own music, but then to curate other people's music, put people in publications, to name drop. Like, you know how many fucking individual tracks and shit like that, like for my channel, like he is putting in work every time I turn around. He's big up in his country. You know what I'm saying? He's big up in the stars that are coming out of the country. And like, it's like that man fucking bleeds patriotism, and it's beautiful to see, Doug. It's inspiring.
That man is Zambian hip hop, man.
I aspire to have the kind of pool and to do the kind of things for artists that he has done in his life with my channel. Like he's super inspirational. Like that's fire to see. And I hope he gets a lot more out of this than he puts in. Like I hope that much good comes back to him. You know what I mean? Like he deserves it.
We gotta make a Holster fund, or we gotta make a Holster thing, a statue or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, cause I'm one of the few who gets to speak on it, but there's thousands of critics. You know what I mean? There's thousands of artists who the Holster, even just these records he puts out, most of the records the Holster puts out is with another artist.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he's gonna go get the upcoming artists and put them together and put them on a record and put it out and shoot a video and promote the artists, and you know what I mean? Like he does it because he's another person who I feel is like actually practicing hip hop. He's not just
Facts.
rapping, he's practicing hip hop.
That's a fire way of putting that. That's a fire way of putting that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's dope. Well, while we're on the topic, right? A little birdie told me that you gonna be featured in a little something dropping very soon. Holster has put together the last day cipher that's coming out. This is a two-pronged thing from my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? So the cipher is gonna come out, and then when the cipher drops, it's gonna have some big name artists that we already fuck with on this channel. I know we have you and GSGang, who I'm familiar with. Both phenomenal fucking artists. I'm a huge fan of both of y'all. Do you have any work with him?
No. People be ducking me, bro.
If you do something for me, I need at least a track with the two of y'all on it, right? Give me a rock beats, John, with the two of y'all on it.
I love him though. It's like we've run into each other like the last maybe say 7 years ago. We were in similar circles. We just dichotomized and went our different directions, but that's my guy. Like, love him. He's from the copper belt like I am. And yeah, definitely, whenever he's ready to get his ass whooped, he can pull up,
You know what messed me up? I don't even know if I said it right. Every single time. So I do like country to country shit, right? And GSGang is like my guy from fucking Nigeria, right? Like GSGang is my dude.
He's like MI's cousin, yeah? MI's
his brother. It's his brother. It's his brother. Right. Yeah. And then like so it's GSGang and Jazzy Jess, and like I fuck them up in my head every single time. I gotta type them in 15 times because I have I listen to both of their music. Like they're both fucking incredible. I want to get him on this channel eventually, you know what I'm saying, to get a chance to sit down and talk to him. But so we got the two of y'all who are plus some others that I'm not familiar with that are gonna be dropping on the last day cipher. And then the beat is gonna come out after that as an open competition. And then Holster's gonna pick from the up and coming or whoever decides to utilize the beat and participate in it, and he's gonna create a secondary cipher off of it. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So that is the exact epitome of what K.R.Y.T.I.C just did a whole rant about how Holster goes out of his way to put on other acts, to put on other artists, to share his platform and shit like that. That's like that's hip hop. That's hip hop. Like
if you even look at the roster of like artists on this, it's like me, C3. C3 is like, the next guy. He's, in my opinion, I feel like he's next up, you know what I mean, on this barring people to death thing, but I feel like he's gonna take it to another stratosphere, you know what I mean, a place that I could never ever even peek in. The C3, there's like you said,
that's some big words. I gotta look into this guy.
Nah, he's crazy, bro. He's nuts. C3 is crazy. I'm always wary of like young people maturing early lyrically. You know what I mean? Like it always worries me. Like, why are you so good so young? You know what I mean? Like
you've been through some shit.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, what's going on with you? But yeah, he's one of them. He's one of them. There's a bunch of one of them, and I've heard the record already, and it's definitely some hoster work, man. It's definitely some hoster work.
Did you eat?
Come on, man. Look, so it might sound like I'm mouthing off or I'm just, just going off, but you're definitely gonna hear this record, and you're gonna let me know.
That's fair. All right. We'll be the judge of that. You seem confident. You seem comfortable. You seem like you're gonna be okay with the verdict.
I know my pen.
Let's go, dog. That drops what, the 28th? Is that correct?
Yeah, it drops next weekend. That must be next weekend or the other weekend. I'm not sure where my calendar is, but it must be dropping pretty soon. Yeah, 28th.
20th. Dope. So make sure you guys look out for that. I will try and get on that as quickly as I can upon drop, as my schedule allows to, looking out for that. So let me ask you this, as far as the second portion of that goes, right? Is there any artist that you would like to see hop on that beat when it drops to be featured on the second part of that? Like who were you to like who are you putting the spotlight on right now? Like, yo, when this beat drops, I better hear you on it.
There's this girl, right? There's this amazing MC who I feel like I'm the only one in Zambia big enough. You know what I mean? Because I keep saying her name. I've never met her. I don't know her, but she is phenomenal. If anything, you need to look into this girl,
I'm listening.
right? She's
I'm listening.
the reason that I would like someone to look into her is because she's young and she's writing crazy. You know what I mean? She's got this record called Quarter Life Crisis.
Mm. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
she's
okay.
that young. It's not even a midlife crisis
I
yet.
know,
You
right?
know
Like
what I mean?
already going through some shit.
Yeah.
We gonna
It's
we
this
gonna
girl
get her
called
some mood
Suli.
music.
Yeah, it's this girl called Suli the rapper. She is amazing. Suli spelled S-U-L-I. Suli the rapper. She is phenomenal.
Make
She's
sure
a
you tag
phenomenal rapper.
tag tag the quality team for me in a track
All
so
right,
I can get that on a list ASAP.
I got you. I'm on that. I'd love to see her on it. I'd love to see Chef 187 on it.
Okay.
Because Chef is like one of our biggest rap exports. And we got into a little tiff because I was saying that I wanted him to rap more. You know what I mean? Like we didn't get into a tiff. His fan base got into a tiff. Oh my God, how dare you? You
It'd be
know.
like that.
It be like that, things get taken out of context. But I would really love to hear him on a cipher because I haven't heard him on a cipher for like a while now.
Okay.
I love to hear him on that because he's phenomenal as well. Who else would be on that? I'd love to hear Tim on that. I'd love to hear Tim pull up and do some things. Uh, I mean, that's who I'm looking out for.
Okay.
Those.
We got
Another rapper I'd like to put you on is a rapper called LJ Mojo.
I have something from him. So I'll talk about this a little bit because things are coming to fruition. I'll be doing a lot of shit, not just the reactions, Doug. So I've shot a docu-series for a Nigerian artist where I interviewed 5 different up-and-coming artists who don't really have like a name for themselves yet, as well as the A&R told you put me on to them. And I'm deciding how I'm going to put this out. But essentially, I asked them all the same question, and I got all of their answers, and in like a documentary style of what it's like coming up as an artist in Nigeria. To get
Yeah,
like the to pick their brain, and then I'm gonna have a second portion of it where I get some of the OGs like Jesse Jags, M.I. Abaga, AQ, and shit like that, the people who are popping, to comment on what the up and coming artists are saying, right? So like I asked them questions like, what is your view on labels in Nigeria? What do you think are the biggest pitfalls that artists are going to run into as being an artist in Nigeria? And then they get to hear from artists who have already beat those hurdles and have already made a name for themselves to comment on what they said. I think it's going to be a beautiful series when I finally roll it out. I hit Holster up because I wanted to do the same thing in Zambia, and he put a collective together, and I'll be honest with you, the communication hasn't been great. So like I think I told them like, hey, it's really big on me that I have the ability to tell the story the way, like if I'm covering Zambia, for instance, right? I don't want the story to be told through my eyes as an outsider who's a fan, who's an observer of the culture. I would much rather the artist tell me what they want their story to sound like. What type of questions do you want to talk about to properly show my audience Zambia through the eyes of an up and coming artist, right? And I put it out there, and I didn't get a single question back from nobody. So like Holster put the team together, so like that, like nobody sent me any questions. I don't know if it wasn't communicated properly, or I'm still not big enough to matter to what I mean, to where like people really wanted to do it yet, or so on and so forth. No, like that's real shit. Like I'm not egotistical. I'm still growing. Like this is still I have not accomplished 1% of what I think I'm going to do by the time everything's said and done. You know what I mean? So there's plenty of time still to do the shit. And I think
yeah,
once the prototype of what I want to do with the Nigerian artists come out, and there's a sample like, hey, this is what I want to do to put the light on Zambian hip hop now, I think there will be more excitement towards it. Now I say that to say
yeah,
this, I had Holster send me over some tracks, and I think one of the ones that I have from him has that cat on it. So like I just
Yeah,
haven't done it yet because we're still doing the Nigerian portion of it.
yeah. That's another that's another guy, bro. Like he's crazy. He's insane, bro. Like I respect the pen, and this is a kid who takes a walk into the mountains to be in the silence just so he can write. You know what I mean? Like
On that
he's one of
sensei
those.
shit. Okay.
Yeah, he's one of them on that shit. So like he's on one of the No Producers Allowed projects. Like we had to get him in the studio, just like come rap and just, he's on Alchemy too, by the way.
Also, I'll be tapping in one way or another.
Yeah, either way. But yeah, he's phenomenal, man. And I always respect just an artist who can fight their surroundings. You know what I mean? Like an artist who can keep their pen sharp regardless of where they are. If there's like a rapper in Baghdad who, regardless of what's
Right.
going on around them, the second M touches down, he's gonna like pen him to death. Like that's the guy who I'm rooting for. You know what I mean? It's like you know what you have, and you just every day you just sharpen that sword, waiting for the day you gotta cut off somebody's head with it. You know what I mean? Like
Let's
every day
go.
you just sharpening it. You
Yo,
know?
this, yo, you better be nice, my guy, because now it's happening. He just set the expectation on you high, Doug. High.
It's crazy, bro. He's crazy.
I'll definitely check him out. All right, cool. So those will be the cats that we look out for the second portion of the cipher. If you guys are watching
That's who I
this,
want.
this is a let me tell you this, guys. If you guys are watching this, I want you to clip as many portions of this interview as you want out to big up other artists, to show love, to show, you know what I mean? Like that's how we really start getting these names out there and stuff like that. So feel free to clip whatever part of this you want, tag whatever artist gets mentioned, and let them know that they got some eyes on them. They got some eyes on them right now. Like, let's go.
We're rocking with him.
One of the connections I did, and actually in reference to your music, was in my interview with M.I. Abaga, and
Yeah.
I know that you had mentioned like how that would be fucking heavy for you, and you know what I'm saying, like everything with that. So huge shout out. Like, what is your connection with M.I.'s music?
So, I started out doing music in a country that wouldn't accept this music at a time that hip hop wasn't being accepted in Africa. You know what I mean? On the level that it could have been, right? And then there was this road to MTV Africa Music Awards. So what they did was they were going to each country and doing a little showcase of, they're trying to make this was the first year of the MTV the Africa Music Awards. So they're going everywhere and trying to get people, involved in the shtees and trying to
Right.
get them to pay attention to this thing. So I went to one of the showcases, I guess I would call it. And so it's this club, shout out Hollywood City. It's this club, and right at the end of the club, they've got this big ass screen, right? And they're just playing these videos on the screen. And I'm in the club, cooked, teenager, just high off life and enjoying shit. And I look at the screen and there's this crazy video, and it looks like it's an African there, and I'd never seen a dope African hip hop video before. So much so that I felt like it's impossible for this to happen. You know what I mean? Like there's no point even dreaming that far, because who's gonna make the video for you? Where you gonna, you know what I mean? All those questions
Gotcha.
come down. And there was this amazing video, and it's the video to a song called Safe by MI. And that was the first, like, I was looking at it. There's no volume on it. Like I couldn't hear the song. It was just a video playing. And I was like, what the fuck is this? This guy looks like he's rapping, and it's just crazy. After this, you should go play that video and see what I saw,
I'm familiar. I'm familiar with it.
And
I'm familiar with it.
yeah, there was all these graphics and everything, just like, oh shit. So the very next morning, I woke up hungover as a motherfucker, and I went looking for the song, and I played it, and then everything changed. You know what I mean? I was like, you mean the guy rapping is actually better than the video? Because that's an amazing video, you
Let's
know?
go.
And he just kept, with every song out here, I was just like, it's so dope to know that there's rappers in Africa who are doing this. You know, it's so dope to know that I don't have to go to Reasonable Doubt or Illmatic. You know what I mean? It's so dope to know that I can just turn around in my own backyard and there's people who are putting out this type of work. You know what I mean? There's our double HPs, our Stogie T's, our A-Reeses, our Proverbs, our Pro Kids, rest in peace. You know what I mean? Like, that's when that whole world just like opened up to me. I was like, shit, you know. But MI was very instrumental in that whole thing. You know what I mean? Just like
That's fire.
he moved, man, he moves like a master, bro. You know what I mean? He moves like a prophet. You know what I mean? I feel like I just need to touch the hem of his robes.
That's fire, dog. I love seeing I love seeing artists. You can tell when someone's a fan of somebody, right? Like your whole demeanor, like just start geeking out and shit like that. Like it's so dope to see people, especially, let's be honest, egotistical motherfuckers like ourselves, right? Like who know our value, who know who we are. You know what I'm saying? And it's still so much love when it's time to show love. You know what I mean? Like that's heavy. That's super fucking dope. That's dope.
Love MI, love everything he's doing. Even this last album he just put out, man. Like, been a fan, still a fan, will always be a fan. You know what I mean? Off that clip that you put out and off that tweet, he followed me. We had a conversation, and
Really?
can't lie, bro. I was typing with like stilts for fingers because I couldn't get my fingers to type at this man, bro. Because like that's like tweeting at God. You know what I mean? Like, what were you saying if God's in your...
I had no idea he reached out. That's so fucking dope, dog. That's awesome.
He's amazing, bro. He's phenomenal. You know,
One of
he's
the
a phenomenal human being.
that's so fucking dope, dog. I'm clapping for that. That's fire, dog. Like I feel like yo, if my channel could do anything like that, like it's little shit like that that I don't even know about that's fucking happening. Like that's super
Yeah.
dope. Like from that interview, a lot of cool shit happened too. Like he mentioned how like he wanted to start like taking the battle rap scene and shit like that in Nigeria seriously and like give flowers to them. And his company Task and They Genius, huge shout out to They Genius, put out what's called the hip hop event, right? Which is like basically it's not a league, it's basically like a hip hop venue where they're giving an audience to artists to come perform, for battles to come show. Like they've created a spot for hip hop to thrive in Nigeria from a like grassroots level, not like the biggest celebrities, blah 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 blah. Like there are celebrities and shit like that have been getting involved and stuff like that. Like I've seen Tito Simos, Lakon, like there are people who have like established fan base and shit like that who are supporting you. But that's fire, dog. Dog, this is shit. I didn't even know that was gonna come out during the interview. Like that's fire.
Yeah, that's all you, man. That's all you.
That's all M. That's M. That's not me, man. All I can do is name drop. But what actually taking action on shit,
you made the connection, man. He would have never heard about me or known about me. You know what I mean? Like, I'd have just been the fan on the other side of the fence, like, hey man, please see me, senpai.
Stop it. Speaking of Zambia, right? Let's I would be remiss to not have this conversation and mention some of the big things that are happening right now and get your take on it, right? So we have huge shout out to Killer, who has a viral TikTok that's popping off right now, and you see him getting a lot of recognition. You know what I mean, from cats on who had no idea. You know what I'm saying, that Zambian hip hop existed. And that's fucking dope as shit. And then obviously Sampa the Great is absolutely phenomenal, and locking down, getting her music in with the MCU. Huge salute, huge shout out.
And all that.
That's fire. How does it feel seeing these artists get these types of breakthroughs and shit like that right now?
It feels like it's about goddamn time. That's what it feels like. You know, I have personally, myself, I've always felt like Zambia has got some of the most talented people in the region. You know what I mean? Like, that's just off the bat. I've always felt like like down south, there's like I hope I don't come off the wrong way, you know what I mean? I hope whoever's hearing this hears this with like, you know, the proper filters in their ears. But down south, they've got this like accent issue going on. Like you can hear South African rappers sound South African. Same goes for Nigeria and all these other places. Like they've got this distinctness that works for them, you know? And I've always felt like Zambia being in this South Central location in Africa is a sponge of everything, you know? And it's like we've picked up everything from South Africa to Nigeria to USA to UK, and we've just sort of like soaked it in. And I feel like the best rappers in the region are here. You know what I mean? Like they're hidden
Fuck
under
your shit.
rocks somewhere. You know what I mean? They're hidden under somewhere, and someone needs to start shining a light on these people. But I've always felt like the best rappers in the region, you know, I can get on my patriotic shit and say like in the continent, but just try to keep it realistic in the region. I've always felt like they come from here. And it's such a dope thing to see the light being turned on Zambia, you know.
It's
I'd like to
absolutely
take
fire.
this moment to say shout out to our president, because none of this shit would have been happening. You know, we just came from a period of some bullshit going down, you know. And I feel like all of this positivity that's surrounding the country is as a result of somebody in office doing, you know what I mean, giving us the
That's fire.
opportunity and all that, you know. So yeah, it's about goddamn time, and there's a lot more where that came from, world, you know.
Bro, that's so dope to hear. I think if you look at the track record, right? That hip hop, specifically African hip hop. I guess not really, because like American government gets shitted on a lot too. A lot of the music you are not going to have an artist come in shouting out the president in Nigeria. You're not going to have, you know what I'm saying? Like you're still going to have bars about apartheid in South Africa and shit like that. So to hear you say like, "Yo, we're on the right track," and huge shout out to the leadership up top. I think that's a very unique experience that for me to hear that from an artist right now, and that's fire, dog. Like that's got to feel good. Like that's
Well, man,
incredible.
somebody got to big him up, man, because otherwise he might feel like, you know, he might need to
Stop doing it.
go where the rest went. You know what I mean? But yeah, somebody got to let him know that even the rappers are profiting from his leadership. You know what I
That's
mean?
fire.
Like
That's fire, dog.
even the rappers are feeling his
Right.
governance, you know.
That's incredible, dog. Look, last thing, what is next for Critic? How can the fans support you? How do we rally everybody up to support you the best that we can?
Um, I'll start with the how can the fans support me? The best way that the fans can support me is just to listen to the music. You know what I mean? Like the whole point of this thing is so that something that's coming from me reaches someone else. You know what I mean? And if that doesn't happen, then it's pointless. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of pointless. Like I'm just speaking into the air. So for me, that circuit connects when someone listens, because when you listen you may connect, you know what I mean? And if you don't, it's fine. If you do, then welcome to the family now. You know what I mean? Now we're similar people type shit,
Right.
you know. What what was the other question, sorry?
What is next for you? What are we going to be anticipating next from you?
I'm working on yet another album, but I think we're close to the winding down of solo critic projects.
Okay.
You know what I
What
mean? We're we're close. You know, I'm trying to get some things off before I'm done with this. You know, like trying to do a few things, but I feel like say if my career was a whole day, let's say we're at 3 p.m.
that's a that's a
You know
that's
what I
a that's
mean?
a that's a hard analogy, my guy. That's fire.
Yeah, it's like
if my career was a whole day, it's 3 p.m. That's why I listen to the music, dog. Fuck that. Like that's why. It's shit like that. It's shit like that.
Yeah. But also, I say that to say I'm very curious about other forms of media. You know what I mean? So that's what I've been taking a lot of. That's why, like, when people see releases like Mid Morning Marauders, and it almost feels like it's released half with my mind on it and half with my mind on something else. You know what I mean? It's because my mind really is on something else. You know what I mean? There's really
Are you cool
other shit
talking
I
about
do.
it? Because I know you said like with the I don't know if it was with the Revert Cartel music group, like you're gonna be doing the radio stuff. Is that like what you're
Yeah.
talking about? Like other avenues still in music, just not the creation of?
So like for instance, on-air presentation is the radio part of it, right?
Right.
But behind the radio part of it, there's also like the editing of the sound, which is what I'm also doing, right? So not only am I presenting the show, I'm producing the show, and I'm producing shows for more than just me. You know what I mean? I'm producing shows for other people. There's 3 shows playing on Rovert Radio that I produced for other people.
That's
Right.
fire.
Behind that, I'm trying to get into film. Behind that, I'm trying to get into just, a whole bunch of shit. Trying to be a dad, you know what I mean? Like there's there's
Let's
there's
go.
different segments, there's different segments to this thing. But yeah, I feel like rap has taken me a very long way. It's still taking me where I want to go. And I'm really enjoying the journey, but sooner or later, I'm gonna have to jump off this train, and get onto another train because can't do both, it seems. People just see you as a rapper, 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 So yeah,
He's ready to sell out, baby. Let's go.
man, I already played the sellout game and then sold out from the sellout. So for now, like I love the culture of hip hop. I love this whole thing. I mean, I love this conversation. We've been geeking out for 2+ hours
Absolutely. This has been
talking
phenomenal.
about, you know
Phenomenal.
what I mean? We haven't had more than 10 minutes to the album itself. But the whole point is like I really love hip hop. It's more special to me than anybody can ever tell me how dope of a rapper I am. You know
That's
what I
fire.
mean? It's way more. It's good that I'm a dope rapper. Thank God for me. You know what I mean? But
Just more
outside
to
of
you than
that,
that.
yeah, outside of that, I'm also just like listening to all these records. I'm watching all these battle raps. You know what I mean? I'm
Right.
still that kid who just really loves this thing. And outside of that, I also feel like I should be able to be whoever the fuck else I want to be, a dad, entrepreneur, video editor, graphic designer, voiceover artist. You know what I mean? Like all
That's
these
fire.
other things that
Absolutely.
come with it.
I wish you nothing but genuine success in whatever avenue you decide to take, my guy. And you have my and the GSGang support in any way that we can. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, sir.
Um,
Oh yeah, and we're dropping another mixtape in 3 weeks.
there you go. In 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Just as a by the way.
Is it titled yet?
Yeah, yeah. All these, by the way, Mid Morning Marauders was done last year.
Okay. We always be getting old
All
shit
these
from
things.
artists, man. Always be getting old shit from artists. Motherfuckers be dropping tapes. They be like, I recorded this in 2012. Like, motherfucker, that was a decade ago.
I
Music
recorded
don't
this
even
when I was
sound like
born.
that no more. I know, right? So that heartbeat, that was my heartbeat. That was my
Yeah,
first heartbeat.
that's my beat. Yeah, yeah, it's called the Copper Belt Story.
Okay. Copper
Another
Belt
exclusive for
story.
the GS gang.
Woo! You heard it here, baby. We gonna hold them to it. So my
Yeah, it's
last
called the Copper
before I
Belt Story. I'm pretty sure this is the first time people are going to be hearing the title. I don't think I've said it anywhere else.
we got exclusives, baby. Now, I think I want to end. I always like turning the reflective light back on myself. If there's any questions that you had for me, and the last thing would be, in your opinion, in my dive into the Zambian hip hop scene, what is the next thing that I could do, or the next artist I could interview, the next artist I could react to, that would be the most impactful, in your opinion?
Jesus Christ, it's between LJ Mojo and Sully the rapper. I mean, fuck that. NPA.
There you go. Easy done. Easy done.
Fuck that.
That was a quick turnaround.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, what am I? But you really need to dig into either LJ Mojo or Sully the rapper.
Sounds good. Any questions you
Whichever
have for me?
whichever way you wanna shoot, that's who it is. Questions for you
Or the gang, because they'll be in the
or
comments
the
too.
gang?
You know that.
Who is? I want to know because I gotta kill them now. Who is the rap? How do I word this? What is the best verse you have heard from an African rapper?
I'll let you know when I
And
hear
who's
them
that rapper? No, as in that you have heard. You know what I mean? You.
The best verse that I have heard. I hate this game. This is why I don't do lists. I don't do top lists. I don't do none of that shit. Because it really depends on my mood and what I'm looking for. I'll tell you this right now. This is an awesome time to plug this, right? There is a cat named Speeka, Speeka, in South Africa.
Okay.
He has a YouTube channel that is what I wish my YouTube channel was. So he is a producer and he makes beats and he gets all the big name artists to come to his studio and he makes them do one-shot takes to rap on his beats live. And his YouTube channel is full of gold gems after gems after gems. That being said, my guy got Stog on there recently.
Jesus Christ.
And the first time I heard the verse from Stog was in New York when I was chilling with him. We was totally fucking lit in a hotel at 3 a.m. and shit like that. And Stog was going the fuck off in the hotel room, dropping 1,000 bars on me. Motherfuckers was banging in the wall next to me. He starts banging on the wall back at them. This yo, dog, it was fucking fire. And then I heard the verse. And then I heard it with a beat, and I heard him go on speaker, and I heard him drop it. When I tell you speaker is so good for the fucking culture, for just hip-hop culture in general. I don't give a fuck what country you want to talk about, what continent you want to talk about. I respect the shit out of what he does. But that Stove jaunt that he dropped is the first thing that comes to my mind when you ask me what is the best verse. As in recent history, that's like stuck there, dog. As soon as the first fucking 6 words, you're gonna be locked in. You're gonna be locked in. I'll send you the link.
I mean, like I keep saying, that's a sword I want to die on. Like, you know what I mean?
you just might, my guy. Man, I big up you in a lot of ways, but there's there's limitations I have.
Hey man, hey man. I just like with the Zubs thing, you know what I mean? Like for me, it's all hip hop, man. Like if you're a samurai in your hood, take a trip, go down the road. Are you the best samurai down the road? Cool. Take a further trip. Are you the best? You know what I mean? I'm just trying to get where they cut my head off and put it on a pike, you know, or I cut their head off and put it on a pike, you know.
If you find yourself in a position where you listen to that and then you think you wrote something better, you send that to me right away and it'll be on the channel the same day. Oh my God. You let me know, dog. You tell me.
Yes, sir.
Look, that's all I got. Thank you so much for taking the time to chop it up, my guy. This has been incredible. This is such a dope interview. This is one of my favorite interviews I've ever done. This has been it's like, so natural,
it was my favorite before we started. But, you know,
let's go, man.
Lot, bro. This is great, man. Thanks for this.
Absolutely not the last time you're going to be hearing from me, I'm sure. You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
As always, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I will catch y'all on the next one. Let's go.
Run the gauntlet.